What will we do with this moment? How will we be remembered? Look at the opportunities before us.
This election really isn't about the left versus the right. It's about we the people choosing our government and the choice between freedom versus tyranny.
Nobody has a chronic disease burden like we have. Why are we allowing this to happen to our children? Ultimately, the only thing that will save our country is if we choose to love our kids more than we hate each other.
What is going on here is deeper than politics. It is deeply spiritual. We are being called to rise above the hatred and the fear and the evil.
We need to remember above and beyond that we must love our neighbors, that we must treat other people as we hope to be treated.
You want to be a rebel? You want to be a hippie? You want to stick it to the man? Show up on your college campus and try calling yourself a conservative.
America is going to reach heights that it has never seen before. The future is going to be amazing!
You want healthy children. Don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again?
Come to you today as a former Democrat. I will be a first-time Trump voter tonight.
The people dreamed this country, and it's the people who are making America great again.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Hello, clicking buttons. Welcome to the 3:30 edition. I mentioned something during the crazy church thing that we saw earlier. I just wanted to touch back on that again. As we're waiting for Trump to take the stage at 4 o'clock, got a couple things to go over with you as I'm watching the screen to make sure we catch every minute of his first, I guess we can call it his first press conference as President of the United States. So, what do I got? Excuse me. I explained it kind of earlier today. I had planned on doing a 3:30 show every day and then a 7 or 7:30 show every other day, but things are changing very, very, very quickly. With everything that Trump has going on, I want to make sure I don't miss anything, and I don't have another host to jump in, so I'm going to have to, for the next probably 2 weeks or so until we settle in, play things by ear so I know when exactly to cover him, when exactly to cover Karoline Leavitt when she does a press conference. Because those press conferences are about to be lit with everything he's been doing. I mean, absolutely lit. So, myself and Ashley, every single morning, we're checking his schedule, seeing what he's got scheduled for the day. And of course, sometimes they insert stuff that wasn't there, and you have to cover that as well. And so I'll have to basically try to figure out how to manipulate time so I can best cover this stuff. In addition to that, what I'll do is I'll post it in the Fanfare Twitter group so you guys can all see it. All you have to do is go there, fanfareshop.org/group, and you can join 13,000 plus, quickly approaching 14,000 fellow patriots. So I think what I'm going to do is keep a running schedule in there. If X allows me to do updates, that's what I'll do, so you guys can see what's going on. Because his schedule, I showed it earlier. Let me see if I can pull that up again for you guys to see it, because it's a pretty cool website in case any of you guys want to go to it yourself and check it out. this website here is called, wait a minute, got to get to the right window here so you guys can see it. Otherwise, you won't be able to see it. All right, so here's the website. It's called Roll Call at rollcall.com/factbase Trump calendar. And here, as you can see, it's got his entire calendar here. So if you look today, all this stuff happened, and they include travel to and from someplace because they have to. So it'll say to the cathedral this morning, back from the cathedral, and it's got everything that he's going to be doing. And 4 o'clock, he has put here this infrastructure announcement / press conference. So I had a show scheduled for 3:30, regular show. Tommy Radcliffe is going to come on as soon as he can, but 4 o'clock now comes in the middle of what we were going to be doing, so I have to make sure we're ready to jump to cover Trump. So I hope that all settles with you guys and you understand what I'm saying here. But basically, as the term is, things are fluid right now in Trump world, and we want to make sure we make the most of it. This morning, some of you joined me for what was what's the best word I can describe it? A wrecking ball of a church service, an absolute abhorrent trash church service. This woman, who was some, I don't know, woke bishop, decided she was going to take a minute or two and basically lecture Trump in the middle of a church service. And all of his family were squirming. And I went back and watched the video, and the one person who just kept steel-eyed was Melania. She wasn't standing for it. It was pretty bad. So in any event, let me turn this down real quick. Hold on. Wait 1 second, because I don't want this to bleed into the show. Hold on. Okay, when we're doing this live. So Melania just, boy, she was shooting daggers at her. But in any event, we're going to talk about that today as well. So let me get into the show and talk to you about some of the stuff that's been going on and what Trump has been signing and some good news that happened earlier this morning.
So, please raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Marco Rubio, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter. So help you God. Congratulations, His States.
All right, so Marco Rubio was sworn in after a unanimous vote yesterday to be Secretary of State of the United States. Awesome. First guy done. I understand a couple others are going to be done this week very quickly. I don't know if they'll get unanimous approval like Marco Rubio did, but they are going to do some different things. So let's continue.
The promise the president made, really, if you look at it, is it's going to be the priority. It's going to be the official policy of the United States that the war in Ukraine needs to come to an end. It is a stalemate. It's a war and it's a conflict that was started by Russia. But it is now a stalemate, a protracted, bloody conflict, been incredibly destructive. I would argue for both Russia and Ukraine, but Ukraine is paying the biggest.
So it seems like Marco's first task is get over there and meet with Vladimir Putin and Zelensky and end the war, which makes a lot of sense because Vladimir Putin put out a video this morning saying he wants to talk about it. So at least one side wants to talk about it. I gotta believe, now that the spigot has been turned off and Zelensky's not going to see any more money, he's probably going to say, hey, let's talk. Because the only reason this war continued is because, for whatever reason, the Biden administration wanted it to continue. Whether it was deep state, the military industrial complex, whatever it was, They wanted it, and so they kept going.
Price of all, to its energy infrastructure, to the people, lives that are lost, to the millions of Ukrainians that have had to leave their countries and are living overseas. The conflict needs to end. And it's a policy of the United States that we want it to end. We want to do everything we can to help it end. We're going to engage in making it end and in a way that is sustainable, meaning we don't just want the conflict to end and then restart in 2, 3, or 4 years down the road. We want to bring stability. We have a lot of important and pressing issues around the world, and I think everyone should wake up this morning and be very happy that we have elected as our 47th president a man in Donald J. Trump that wants to promote peace in the world and bring it to the end of these conflicts.
You imagine being a libnut not wanting peace? Even though when I grew up, the people on the left were considered peace freaks. They just wanted peace, peace, bro, peace. And now they all want war. It's insane how things have changed. But that's what you get when you deal with a lot of crazy people. So I firmly believe that Rubio's going to get in there. He's going to deliver the message. He's going to talk to Putin. He's going to talk to Zelensky. And you watch. This thing will be over very quickly. This week? Don't know. Depends on if we see him fly over there. Depends on what we see Trump do. So in addition to his schedule, Trump has also scheduled a Zoom call type thing on Thursday, talking to the people in Davos and the WEF. That should also be an interesting call, which, if we have access to it, we'll cover that as well. So let's continue.
During Chief Ball last night, this was a hot topic. Chief National Security Correspondent Jennifer Griffin at the Pentagon. Jen.
Harris, in a surprise announcement this morning, Coast Guard Commandant Linda Fagan, a 4-star admiral, was relieved of duty by President Trump's acting Secretary of Homeland Security, Benjamin Huffman. A DHS official says the commandant was fired due to a failure to address border security threats, poor recruitment and retention, mismanagement in acquiring key acquisitions like icebreakers, an excessive focus on DEI, and an erosion of trust over her mishandling and cover-up of an internal investigation into a years-long scandal involving sexual cases at the Coast Guard Academy. Fagan was the first woman to lead the Coast Guard or any branch of the U.S. military. Among President Trump's first executive orders, he declared an emergency at the southern border, ordered active-duty U.S. troops to deploy soon, and designated drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. He has not ruled out using the U.S. military to reclaim the Panama Canal. With no explanation, shortly after noon, General Mark Milley's new portrait as the 20th chairman of the Joint Chiefs was removed from the hallway where it was unveiled 11 days ago. This morning, maintenance workers were busy taking the hooks off the wall that held the portrait and painting over the holes. We asked them, Harris, who gave the orders for them to do that, and they said it was above their pay grade. But one worker said they were, quote, told to make it look like the portrait was never there.
Well, those people need to be fired right away. Whoever Jennifer Griffith was talking to, who was even talking in that manner, they need to be slapped down. They need to be shown the door. We're told just make it look like it never happened. I'm pretty sure that wasn't for public disclosure. But somehow, and they're going to know, they're going to know who was assigned the job of taking down Milley's portrait. And then you got to get rid of them too. Just don't show any of these people any mercy whatsoever. They all get to go. Bye. Go away. So we're going to get into Trump's executive orders here. It's 3:44. We got about 15 minutes so we can get into some of them. There's a whole lot of them. I mean, this morning people asked me if I was going to cover them. There's a whole lot of them. So let's start talking about the first couple here.
First, we have Alaska, sir. This is an executive order relating to unleashing Alaska's potential as an energy reservoir for the entire nation.
And what about ANWR?
I believe that would be included in aspects of the order.
So we're opening up ANWR.
On the TikTok piece, President Trump, you and your members of your team now used to warn about the dangers of TikTok spying on Americans. What changed that you're not worried about that anymore?
Well, it depends on the deal. I mean, I may not do the deal or I may do the deal. TikTok is worthless if I don't approve it. It has to close. I learned that from the people that own it. If I don't do the deal, it's worthless, worth nothing. If I do the deal, it's worth maybe $1 trillion. $1 trillion. So if I do the deal I'm talking about doing it for the United States. If I do the deal for the United States, then I think we should get half.
One of the things people are going to have to get used to over the next 4 years is his vernacular. He talks like the New York City businessman that he always has been. When he says, do the deal, he had to preface it. He goes, I mean for America, because he's talking about making a deal. The entirety of everything that he's going to be doing is about making deals. He's a deal maker. Art of the Deal. He wrote the book. That's what he's talking about. And so before they talked about TikTok, they were talking about drilling in Alaska. So I don't want to get too far in the weeds. I want to show you guys how you can dig this stuff up so you can see it yourself. But there's a whole section on whitehouse.gov that has each of these orders basically put in here so you can actually read the text of them. So this one here is Unleashing Alaska's Extraordinary Resource Potential, Executive Order. And this one's a long one, so obviously I'm not going to go through all of this. You can read this at your leisure. But basically, which also tells you they had this stuff drawn up weeks ago, because you'll scroll. It's just a whole bunch of stuff here. But in a short period of time, if they had like something that said if Grok summarizes, he's opening Alaska and the grounds around Alaska to start drilling. And he's doing it because he had another order that said it's a national emergency. So he's using a national emergency to begin drilling right away. And, again, this is a long one, so you can go ahead and read this on your own. There's a lot there. Get a coffee and a donut because it's long, but that's a big one. So right away, he's opening up all the grounds up in Alaska so that we can begin drilling right away. Let's continue.
Sir, is a declaration of a national energy emergency?
So you also
That's a big one. That allows you to do. That means you can do whatever you have to do to get out of that problem. And we do have that kind of an emergency.
President Trump, at some point will you use your powers of the presidency to tell Americans who are concerned about drones?
I will.
Sir, this is about reforming the...
All right, so this one here was about the national emergency. And let me just show you real quick so you guys can see it. If you want to see all the presidential actions, you can go to this page, and here they all are. There are 5 pages of actions that you can read through. The one he just spoke about was declaring a national emergency for energy. And again, this one is a long one, and they go through the heretofores and the wheretofores and all this stuff. But basically, he's using presidential powers conferred upon him by the Constitution, as you can see here, by the authority vested in me by the Constitution and the laws of the United States, including National Emergencies Act 50 U.S.C. 1601, blah, 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 blah. It is here ordered. And so he substantiates, he prefaces the law that's giving him the authority, and then he's like, well, this is what we're going to do. We are going to declare a national energy emergency, which is going to be very hard for any of the libnuts to sue, because, who declares what an emergency is? Oh, the president declares what an emergency is, not some bureaucrat, not some judge. It's going to be very hard for them to overturn this. I'm sure they'll find some liberal judge who will do it initially, but at the outset is going to be very, very hard to overturn, because the president is the person who determines what is and what isn't an emergency. So here's the emergency. I'm dropping the emergency clause on you. And then, since now I have an emergency, the remedy to that emergency is go drill up in Alaska. So he did it very smart. He didn't say, I'm just going to go ahead and drill, because then everybody would have been fighting him. He goes, well, he stepped back. I'm declaring an emergency. I am the guy who can declare an emergency. Nobody else is going to be able to declare a national emergency. That's why when you hear things like national emergency or emergency disaster declarations by the states, when a state says that, They are actually appealing to the federal government for help. They can't even declare and say, give me the money. They have to ask at that point. And I know this because down here in Florida, we've gone through so many hurricanes and we've seen what the process is. Hey, we need help. Okay, we're going to give you that designation and start working with you. So he is the one that declares the national emergency. Interesting. He was talking about TikTok. And in here, let me see if I can find the TikTok order, because there's so many of these damn things in here. Right now there's 5 pages. You know this is just going to continue to grow. But you can find the TikTok order in here somewhere. Scrolling. Is it on page 4? Okay. The application of Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act to TikTok. The application of Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversaries Controlled Applications Act to TikTok. The authority vested me by Constitution. Then he says what section of the Constitution he's using. And again, it's all legalese, which you can read through. But basically, the Supreme Court said that TikTok had to go away unless they either sold it or just closed it. You can't run here anymore. So the Supreme Court decision did not say who you had to sell it to. That was very interesting. Nobody ever fought that. It didn't say it had to be sold to Fred. Didn't say it had to be sold to Bob. It just said it had to be sold. So what he's saying at this point is the United States of America is going to be a 50% partner with somebody else, maybe TikTok themselves, whoever else, but the country is going to own this asset, which is freaking people out because he cut a deal. He's like, hey, okay, we'll buy it. And he explained to everybody, we're not putting up any money. We're not doing anything because of who we are, because you need our user base. And he said it. He goes, without us, it's useless. Zippo, it's worth crap. With us, it could be worth trillions. Excuse me. So, ergo, if it could be worth trillions, then we are going to be the ones to basically own it, which will allow it to continue. Very smart. Very, 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 very smart.
Of hiring in the federal government to ensure that merit is the lodestar of hiring decisions.
As per the Supreme Court.
Other matters. Yes, sir.
Mr. President, this is a big deal. Merit. Our country is going to be based on merit again. Can you believe it?
I can't even fathom that it's not based on merit. Could you possibly imagine owning a business where your employees don't have to be any good? They just have to check a box. Nose ring, purple hair, 15 pronouns, blah, blah, blah. You get a job. But how do you know if they're any good? That's how bad things have gotten with government. So what did Trump decide to do? He decided to make it meritorious, where you actually had to be able to do the flipping job, which they're going to freak out. What did he say? The federal hiring process and restoring merit to government service. Reforming the federal hiring process and restoring merit to government service by the authority vested in me. And he quotes these different sections of the United States Code. It is hereby ordered that American citizens deserve an excellent and efficient federal workforce that attracts the highest caliber of civil servants committed to achieving freedom, prosperity, blah, blah, blah. Meaning, you got to be able to do the job. And these are, we've heard it a lot, that Trump was basically looking to return to common sense. And it's such basic common sense, it makes you just want to pull your hair out and go, why wouldn't we be this way? Why wouldn't we, look at people for their ability to perform on a high level? I don't want somebody who hits the button for the McMuffin at McDonald's running in the government. You need to be able to do the job that you were basically, you applied for. See, that's the other thing. These people have applied, and whoever has been doing the hiring decisions has been ignoring the real qualifications, and it's across the board in government. So you might have to go. Interesting coming up is how he's going to get rid of these people.
This next order relates to the definition of birthright citizenship under the 14th Amendment of the United States.
That's a good one. Birthright. That's a big one.
What about that one in the courts? That one is likely to be found.
Could be. I think we have good grounds, but you could be right. I mean, you'll find out. It's ridiculous. We're the only country in the world that does this with birthright, as you know. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. But, we'll see. We think we have very good grounds. People have wanted to do this for decades.
This is actually an executive.
So when that first came out and they started talking about it, and I noticed what the Democrats were omitting when they talked about it, Trump understood they were omitting this. So this, no doubt, is going to the Supreme Court. This will be lawfare at its finest. This is the golden calf of the Democrat Party. If they can't let illegals in, I'm testing y'all. If they can't let illegals in, what are they going to do? Especially the term that I know they won't let me use, but it has to do with an anchor in a ship. You know what I mean. If they can't say that these people have birthright citizenship, the entirety of the Democrat Party, their entire thing falls apart. And it's not racist, it's a constitutional issue. So Trump is betting, he knows they're going to take him to court. There is no doubt this is going to be a long-term court battle. But he's willing to fight it. And here's why he's willing to fight it. Protecting the meaning and value of American citizenship by authority vested in me, as president, by the Constitution and the laws of the United States, it is hereby ordered. And he's using right off the bat the constitutional language, which I have pointed out to you before. And the very important language, which some people omit, it says all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States wherein they reside. The problem is too many people ignore the second half of that sentence. They've concentrated on all persons born or naturalized, and they forget the second half. The second half of that sentence is subject to the jurisdiction thereof. So we're about to find out how this thing plays out. I don't even know if he has full confidence in it, but at least he's like, we need to test this. We need to get a definitive solution so that we now know what the heck does that mean. This thing was written, long time ago, hundreds of years ago. The provision rightly repudiated the Supreme Court in Dred Scott versus Sanford, 1857, which misinterpreted the Constitution as permanently excluding people of African descent from eligibility for United States citizenship solely based on their race. But the 14th Amendment has never been interpreted to extend citizenship universally to every single person born in the United States. This is a constitutional lawyer's lottery ticket, because on the left and the right, the best lawyers, the best of the best, they won't be DEI hires, the best of the best lawyers are going to be slugging this one out. Where's it going to go? I can't tell you. Now I got a bunch more to show you, but in the interim, we're going to be waiting, getting everything set up here for this broadcast, because it is 4 o'clock right now. So we'll take some comments on what you guys think about this whole birthright thing, because it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. Hold on, let me get things ready here so we can jump to this when it comes on. I'd like to take the Fox broadcast if they have it, but we'll see. All right. In any event, I forget which state, but they already did a lawsuit on Trump this morning. A whole bunch of them. It's by the time we're off of here, it may be 50 states, maybe 30 states. Or cities. Is Trump making a live announcement? Yes, Trump will be live imminently. I've got it so I can see it here when it happens. He will be taking you know, it's going to be interesting now that he's the president. Can you imagine if certain networks aren't even going to take his press conferences? That's going to be pretty interesting. When Big Mike's corn pop. Calling Kamala a DEI hire was an insult to the Democrats. Should have never been allowed. Yeah, bury the Biden pardons can be undone. Explain America. I've seen, again, I am not an attorney. I am definitely not a constitutional attorney. And most people who run YouTube channels, they're not really attorneys either. It makes complete sense that these pardons can be undone. It makes obvious sense because, you know, they haven't even been charged with anything. The problem with saying that this person said it, so that's what it is because the person who's going to determine it is in Washington, and one of those 9 people or multiples of them who have a black robe. Those are the only people who know how it's going to come out. That will go all the way to the Supreme Court. So anybody, myself, any podcaster who's telling you, oh, it's going to get thrown out, they don't know shit. And I mean that in all due respect. They don't know anything, because unless you talk to John Robert and Gorsuch and Thomas and Alito and they said we're going to throw it out, nobody knows. And that's one of the problems with the Trump presidency right now. So many things are going to be based upon lawsuits, and these lawsuits are going to have to go all the way to the Supreme Court. Because the left, that's what I was saying this morning, be prepared to fight. They are not going to back down on anything. Nothing. So even if Trump wins his first one at a district level, and then they're going to appeal it to the appellate court, and then whatever the appellate court does, it's going to get appealed to the Supreme Court. So I'm telling you right now, as you're traversing the interwebs and you're looking at people's videos, people who tell you that this or that is going to be overturned, they don't know. They have no idea, and it's no slight on them, but they couldn't possibly know that, because there's only 9 people in this country who are going to determine some of these issues. And God, please, Amy Coney Barrett, get on board. We need Amy Coney Barrett to stop playing around. We have a 6-3 court right now. The stuff that Trump's doing, if these people were serious, he would definitely win it. But we don't know. We've seen how Amy Coney Barrett can flip. So do yourself a favor, save yourself a lot of heartache, and understand right now, anybody saying this is how it's going to go, you don't know. And I'm talking like even the Alan Dershowitz of the world and the Jonathan Turley, they'll be the first persons to tell you, I have a great opinion. Mark Levin, I have a great opinion, but you have no idea, because those 9 people, they have shown that, we can't tell what they're going to do at all. She's been a disappointment. Yeah. You never know. I mean, all the stuff that we hear versus the stuff that's presented, and then the stuff that they have able to adjudicate on, we don't know what they're going to go. Newcomers shouldn't have been here to have a child in the first place. That's the whole subject to the adjudication thing. So if you weren't subject to our rules, meaning you weren't a citizen, and you weren't, you came here criminally, then you're not subject to our laws. That's the argument. I have no idea. I am not going to stand on that and say what it is. Dershowitz is on Epstein flight logs. Mark Levin is an excellent source. You know what gets me? I love Mark Levin, and he's so methodical on how he lays out his arguments. And he'll give you some case from 1940, and he'll put it together and stack it. And then when they judge against the motion or whatever, he's like, I can't even believe they did this. What in the hell are they doing? So, someone with Mark Levin's basically pedigree, when he says he can't understand what some of these judgments are, then who are we? Because this guy has all that, him and Turley, here's a good example. Everyone said that the Supreme Court was going to basically tell Judge Merchan up in New York to go pound sand. It had no standing. Well, Amy Barrett thought it did, and as of today, Trump's a convicted criminal, convicted felon. So we all thought this thing would get thrown out. Everybody. But it didn't happen that way. She has to listen to what John Roberts said. Maybe she's under. Yeah, I don't know. I'm seeing lots of disappointment in Pam Bondi by gun tubers for her stance on the Fourth Amendment violating red flag laws. Really? Let me ask you a question. Some of those gun tubers that you're talking to, do they live in Florida? Because I live here, and it's a crock. We all, yes, I'm one of them. We all, and none of us have had any problems. There's nobody knocking on doors. You can't believe it. Barry, if I can go to any country and break their laws, I wouldn't get away with breaking their laws. Exactly. Go to, hold on. Is this playing in your ear? Same as mine. Hold on. No, it's just in my ear. Wait. What's playing? 1 second. Why is this playing? No, they're all off. Okay. I'm just hearing it. Is it true that the J6 are not getting out? The order has been given. Why these people are not out of jail, I can't tell you. I can't tell you why they're not out of jail. Yes, some of the jails are not letting the people out. Travesty. Probably have to go sue for that. If Mark Levin was a law professor, he would be my teacher. Yeah, the guy's good. Very good. Yes, I understand the technical part of him not being a felon while he's out on appeal. So, yes, I understand that. He is working, not vacationing in Palm Beach. Ted Cruz is one of the best to explain the Constitution. Yeah, but even then, Ted Cruz said same thing. There's no way that they can find that Trump, blah, 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 blah. And sure enough, Amy Coney Barrett flipped and said that he was. So it's like watching a handicapper in football or something. And as they're watching that stuff in football, it looks like they're a better team. They appeared to be a better team, but they lost. So that's all I'm saying about that. Everybody has some, idea as to where they want to see things, but you never know. You never know. I'm 55 years young. I ain't learning Spanish. Come in legally or get the F out of our country. Yeah, I agree with that. So, of course, it's 4:09 and Trump is late right now. So let me continue with another piece of this video until he shows up. Okay, let's go.
Order designating the cartels and other organizations to be foreign terrorist organizations.
That's a big one.
Yes, sir.
People have wanted to do this for years. So they are now designated as terrorist organizations, foreign. And Mexico probably doesn't want that. But we have to do what's right. They're killing our people. They're killing 250, 300,000 American people a year. Not 100, like has been reported for 15 years. It's probably 300,000.
So as he said that, it's exactly right. Why haven't, till just yesterday, why haven't the cartels been designated as terrorist organizations? Well, we probably know one reason, because people have been getting paid by them. But other than that, I mean, that's probably the only reason. Both sides have been getting the stroke of the paycheck or money from them. So he designated the cartels and other organizations as foreign terrorist organizations and specially designated global terrorists. designating the cartels and other organizations as foreign terrorist organizations and specially designated global terrorists. Well, that's a mouthful. By the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, including the Immigration and Nationality Act, blah, 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 it is so ordered. This order creates a process which certain international cartels, the cartels, will be designated as foreign terrorist organizations. Why is that important? Well, it's extremely important to have that designation because by having that designation, it dovetails with the other order. The other order saying there's an emergency at the southern border. Whoever came up with the ideas legally on how to stack this are geniuses. Absolute geniuses. Because, again, this isn't something you can sue about. He determines who terrorists are. There's nobody else in this country who determines what a terrorist group is. The president. That's it. You can't sue. That's his power. Now, because I've designated these cartels as a terrorist group, I now can say there's an emergency at the southern border. That emergency is being facilitated by the same people I just declared are terrorists. And so the way they put this together is absolutely perfect because if he just said there's an emergency at the southern border, yeah, people would probably look side-eye. In fact, there was a report on MSNBC, and the guy goes, I'm down here. It doesn't look like an emergency. It doesn't look like there's any national security risk. Not your call, bro. You and MSNBC can do whatever you want. You can debate whether it's an emergency. Unfortunately, one person gets to declare that. Now that he's declared it a national emergency, what's causing this national emergency, you may ask? Well, it appears to me that the people who are causing this national emergency are this group of terrorists. Again, only his designation. Now, because I have an emergency at the southern border, and because we have terrorists at the southern border, which Biden never even wanted to call these people terrorists, now I can deploy the military. I don't need to have CBP, or I can have CBP, but I can augment it with the military. They stacked it perfectly where it really cannot be challenged. They will, no doubt, they will, but this one is solid. I mean, rock solid. So now, any day, you're going to see the military roll into the southern border. Then what he also did, I don't think I pulled that one up, but he also said, now I'm reinstituting stay in Mexico. So now if you try to hop the fence, you are now an enemy combatant. Meaning you don't get to wait in New York for a hearing 2 years from now. You have now basically, you're part of that emergency. You broke in, and now you're an enemy combatant because the terrorists are controlling it, and they're the ones who, it's beautiful. So within a couple of days, it's going to shut down. I mean, boom. And yesterday, they already closed that CB1 app, so you can't fly in. It's done. It's effectively closed. And if you still try to get in, and if you got some coyotes or anything else, these guys can get locked up. Now the military can actually go get them. And probably even in Mexico. That's where it's going to get real weird, because if he's designating the cartels as a terrorist group, now he needs to notify Mexico. You got terrorists all up in there, and they're infringing upon my national security. So you either get to do something, or you're going to start seeing Black Hawks and special forces doing some stuff on your side because they're terrorists. And we have a treaty that says we can do this. Checkmate. Check flipping mate. Now you're going to have these cartels and see if they really want to take on the U.S. military, especially special forces. That would be awesome. I mean, no, it wouldn't be awesome. It would be short-lived. let's see here. I can say this because I'm an American with Dominican roots. Go home. Oh God, that's exactly right, brother. Rangers, what? 75R92, exactly, Barry. They don't want to mess with that. See, Border Patrol, that's different. These are guys running around in pickup trucks. And they got some weaponry, but you don't want to go up against the military. And so these cartels who've been running things, making millions and billions of dollars, who are armed themselves, they're not used to going up against the U.S. military. Not at all. Is our military at the border now? As of today, I don't know, but I do know he started sending them there. So the fact that he's saying, go ahead, is another thing. So the next thing, as I'm still looking here, he hasn't walked out or anything. They haven't even cut to him yet on any station. I'm looking all around. Nope, so I can continue. Let's go with his next executive order. There's so many, and some of these things are very, very, very complicated. So I'm going to let you read the ones that are really, really complicated.
What are you citing now, sir?
It's an executive order relating to reforms to the federal workforce, including to the senior executive service.
We're getting rid of all of the cancer. I call it cancer. The cancer caused by the Biden administration.
All right. So I found it interesting that he didn't tell these people at this press conference much. You heard it. Hey, what's that? We're just going to get rid of these Biden people. So he's forcing now the press to go do their work. I'm not just going to tell you what it is. You got to go figure it out. So this one here is basically reviving or reinstituting something called Schedule F. And the reason why they're going to be freaking out about that, and this one they will do all kinds of lawsuits, because Schedule F basically takes it back and says, I can fire you. Whereas Biden tried to make it fireproof, this one here, restoring accountability to policy influencing positions within the federal workforce. And this is really, really, really long too. But I want to just, when you read this on your own, you're going to want to get down to, where is it? There's a special thing in here. Okay, I'm trying to find it. Where is it here? Okay, right here. Reinstatement of prior administrative policy. Executive Order 13957 of October 21, 2020, creating Schedule F in the exempted service, is hereby immediately reinstated with full force and effect, subject to the amendments described in Section 3 of this order, provided that the date of this order shall be treated as the date of Executive Order 13957. I want you to pay particular attention to that. October 31st, 2020. Anybody want to raise their hand and tell me who was president in October of 2020? That would be President Trump. And he had a rule that basically, and here goes, replace the letter F throughout that when used to designate an accepted service schedule with the words policy career. So what that allowed him to do was to fire people. And Biden immediately stopped it so that you couldn't fire federal employees. But he's bringing it back, and it's already an executive order, so he's just reinstating it, which now they're going to try and sue and scream bloody murder on this stuff because they of course, they didn't want him to have the ability to fire people. You're stuck with these people, Trump. You can't do anything without these people, is what they thought. Well, guess what? Now I'm going to reinstate Schedule F. And if you want to search Schedule F on X, you're going to see a whole lot of stuff about Schedule F. Looking down, still nothing yet. God is giving Trump wisdom as David like in the Bible. They have already they already have the National Guard at the border. Okay, great. Somebody confirmed that. I love you guys, but not the gay way. We love you too. What's the major infrastructure announcement going to be, I wonder? Don't know. don't know. I mean, it's going to be big. He says massive. I saw a video of semis carrying in Border Patrol vehicles in Texas. Yes, I did see that as well. Trump's role is to be savior and lead people towards the New World Order. Yeah, you really think so? Good luck with that. Put some Louisiana alligators in the Rio Grande. Oh man, it's great. Yeah, and this is what it's for. Hey, you DEI clowns, you're fired. You get them out, because the DEI. This is how you're going to root these people out. 420. He has not made it to the podium. Actually, they're not even showing the podium yet. So nothing happening. So I guess they're going to do it in the White House. But good thing I had all this stuff scheduled, right? So otherwise we'd be like, oh yeah, so what are you guys going to do and everything. I've got Tommy Radcliffe who's going to come on, but I don't dare put Tommy on right now and then all of a sudden, have to cut him down and say you can't make it. So let's continue.
Well, we're thinking in terms of 25% on Mexico and Canada because they're allowing vast numbers of people. Canada's a very bad abuser also. Vast numbers of people to come in and fentanyl to come in.
When do you think you would enact those?
I think February 1st.
Are you planning on giving notice of that?
I think we'll do it February 1st.
25% on both, sir?
Sir, on each.
On each.
We've got...
All right, so what he just said, in case he was talking about the tariffs, and he's saying that basically on February 1st, the 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada go in place. Will he do it? Right now, it's probably a negotiation ploy. Do what I tell you, get your act together, or we're going to have to go ahead and put these 25% tariffs both on Canada and on Mexico. So it's coming. It is definitely coming. So what are the lib nuts going to be doing? The lib nuts are going to be suing everybody.
Lawyers in all 50 states, and we will be joining forces with other civil rights organizations and with governors and mayors who are in American communities and want to stand with us against this right-wing extremism. Number two, you've already heard Governor Maura Healey of Massachusetts, Governor Gavin Newsom of California. You're going to see again, just as we saw during the first Trump administration, governors and mayors around the country who are going to say, we are not going to stand for this federal government attack on our communities. And we're already working with those state and local officials to build a firewall around communities, not just immigrants, but dissidents, protesters, people who Trump has already announced he's going to go after.
Okay, so they're gearing up for a fight. They're gearing up to basically do anything they can. They must stop Trump. 50 states, that's the ACLU. So one of the things, if I was Pam Bondi, I would quickly look into who's funding these people. Where is your money coming from? Now that's the ACLU, which I think is also funded in part by the government. So one of the first things I would do if I were Trump is I'd take that money away. Whatever the ACLU is getting from the government. Ixnay that. But she also mentioned another person. She mentioned Maura Healey, who's the governor of Massachusetts. She's got a problem. You see, Maura Healey took $2.5 billion. She filed a $2.5 billion borrowing bill Tuesday that would dump cash into Massachusetts public higher education system to update aging infrastructure that the first-term Democrat argued has suffered from years of neglect. What is interesting about that $2.5 billion that she now wants to use to do an infrastructure, right? It also seems to coincide with $2.5 billion that she lost. You see, she's getting investigated. Let me see if I can find it, because she lost $2.5 billion. Can't account for it. So now she's trying to borrow it back. The same Maura Healey that lady just talked about. The Democrats are in a big problem. Their grift is being found out. I'm trying to see if I can find it. Their grift is being found out, and now without Biden shuffling money to them, they've got no way to basically cover. I'm going to stop saying basically. They have no way to cover what they've done. So now she's going to try and take out another $2.5 billion because she can't cover what she did with the previous $2.5 billion. Here's what she's being investigated for. Maura Healey, after your taxpayers forked over $2.5 billion for misuse of federal funds on top of your spending on illegals, your policies are failing your constituents. She's got no idea what she's doing there. And now because Biden isn't in office, he can't funnel another $2.5 billion to play, Jenga with the $2.5 billion she spent. I suspect we're going to see a lot of that happening across the country and in blue cities and blue states. It's been a money laundering grift for so long. Nobody wanted to be the one without a chair when the music stops. And so if you just kept getting money from the Biden administration, just had dollars funneled at you, and it just kept coming, like what we're about to see in California. They're freaking out because, why? Because there might be conditions on the money? Who in their right mind gives out money with no conditions? It's your money. And now you've got the Democrats freaking out because they may have to have some accountability with the money. They have been working so long with the Ponzi scheme of paying this and getting back, the whole thing with the train in California, the train to nowhere they spent billions on, and then the government was going to come right back in and bail them out with these fires, and Trump won. Now Trump winning, Gavin Newsom has to beg Trump for the money. And Trump is, I guarantee you, Trump is going to tell these people, you're not getting this money unless we do X, Y, and Z. And that is going to be a hill the Democrats are going to freak out on. Count on it.
Withdrawing from the World Health Organization, sir?
Ooh, that's a big one. So we paid $500 million to World Health when I was here, and I terminated it. China with...
Think about that for a second. We paid $500 million to the WHO. And Trump stopped it. As soon as Biden got back in, the grift started happening again, shifting your money, your hard-earned dollars, over to the WHO, who does nothing but cause pain for American people.
1.4 billion people. We have 350 to pay. Nobody knows what we have because so many people came in illegally, but let's say we have 325. They had 1.4 billion. They were paying 39 million, we were paying 500 million. It seemed a little unfair to me. So that wasn't the reason, but I dropped out. They offered me to come back for 39 million. In theory, it should be less than that, but, and when Biden came back, they came back for 500 million. He knew that you could have come back for 39 million. They wanted us back so badly, so we'll see what happens. Pretty sad though, think of it. China pays 39 million and we pay 500 million. And China's a bigger country.
Is anything these drones? Is anything?
Think about that is right. Think about they were paying 500 million. Trump got in, he dropped it to like 39 and then got out of it completely. And as soon as Biden got in, right after, the jab-a-demic and everything, he raised it back to 500 million. So I would ask anybody in the Democrat circles, what the hell did we get over the last 4 years that was worth paying 500 million to the WHO? And where'd the money go? Who got paid? There's never any accountability with this stuff. It's like, just pay us. So you're going to take our money, people like you, hard-working people, take $500 million and ship it to some foreign entity who doesn't have to do any accounting. And we're going to do that every year. Really? Really? Is that what we're going to do? And so now Trump comes in and goes, nope, gravy train's over. Done. We don't need it. That's $500 million more to the good on our side. They don't like that. They don't like that. Where was the money going? Whose pockets were getting this? What did you do for it? I don't think anyone here has gone to a WHO clinic. I don't think anybody here has gotten cheaper prescriptions because of the WHO. What did you do? And why were we giving them $500 million? Incredible.
No, I think it's terrible. I would like to find out what it is and tell the people.
And can you commit to some kind of...
In fact, I'd like to do that. Could we find out what that was, Susie? Okay? Yeah, why don't we find out immediately? I mean, I can't imagine it's an enemy or there would have been, people would have gotten blown up all over. Maybe they were testing things. I don't know why they wouldn't have said what it was. They had a lot of them flying over Bedminster, which is interesting, right?
And with the events today...
All right, so he said, Ducey asked him a question, hey, why don't we know what's going on with the drones? I'm like, that's a good question. Susie, why don't we find out what's going on with the drones? After all, I'm president right now. I need to be told what the hell is going on with these drones. The Susie he's referring to is Susie Wiles, his chief of staff. So now he just tasked her and said, get on the phone and start figuring out what in the hell this stuff was. I need to know. Report back to me so I can tell the American people. So I would venture to say, let's give her a week. Or let's give her 10 days. We're going to find out what was behind all of this drone stuff. I mean, it's no doubt. So those were the ones I wanted to cover right now. But I'm going to show you, because people have asked, what's gone on, how many of them have there been. And here are all the different ones. So let me go to page 1. Okay, I'm on page 1. Guaranteeing the state's protection against invasion. Restoring names that honor American greatness, like going back to Mount McKinley. Designated the cartels, I covered that. Reforming the federal hiring process based on merit, I told you about that. Ending radical and wasteful government DEI programs. What's that? Somebody talking? No, bro. You're early. That's Tommy. That's
It's an accident. Practice. I'm sorry.
But let me go to this window. I see you there. Establishing and implementing the President's Department of DOGE right there. It covered that. America First policy directive to the Secretary of State. That goes to, obviously, Marco Rubio. Let me see. Are we on yet? Are we doing stuff? No, we're not live yet. Okay, so where was I? All right, presidential actions. Protecting the United States from foreign terrorists and other national security and public safety threats. Unleashing Alaska's extraordinary resource potential. That is the drill part that we all wanted. Going to page 2 here. Did I go to page 2 yet? Okay. This is another one. Protecting the American people against invasion. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Global tax deal I'm going to get into. Organization of the National Security Council and subcommittees. Reevaluating and realigning United States foreign aid. This one you guys may want to read through yourselves as well. Basically, he goes through here and says what countries, who they want to give money to. And are these countries worthy of getting the money right now? So let me just check that. All right. So temporary withdrawal of all areas on the outer continental shelf from offshore wind leasing and review of the federal government's leasing and permitting practices for wind projects. So no more windmills. declaring a national energy emergency I just spoke to you about, restoring accountability for career senior executives. That again is to get rid of the people who have just been sitting there, promoting beautiful federal civic architecture. That's pretty much going to do away with the 15-minute city crap that they were planning, restoring the death penalty is at the federal level, and protecting public safety. I love this one. Putting people over fish, stopping radical environmentalism to provide water to Southern California. Y'all can't, and y'all, Newsom couldn't take care of his own backyard. The federal government's going to do it. They've already put an order in place to tell them to start using the water that you have and don't put the smelt and salmon first. Securing our borders, protecting the meaning and value of American citizenship. I went over that with you. Realigning the United States Refugee Admissions Program. Again, that's about immigration, unleashing American energy, drill baby drill, clarifying the military's role in protecting the territorial integrity of the United States. That's kind of tied into the whole cartel thing. America First trade policy, pretty much self-explanatory. Memorandum to resolve the backlog of security clearances for executive office of the president personnel. One of the things the Democrats had been doing was slow walking, security clearances. And at the same time, they were leaving security clearances for guys like John, big mustache guy, that guy, and James Brennan. Nope. It's going to pull it. Declaring a national emergency, holding former government officials accountable for election interference and improper disclosure of sensitive government information. That's one they don't want to talk about. This is one that no one in the media actually wants to begin talking about. Holding former government officials accountable for election interference and improper disclosure of sensitive government information. And again, this one goes through all the different things that the CIA did, that the DOJ did, and everything else that they did. And, John Bolton, that was the guy's name. And how everything they went through. And down here is where they really nailed these people. We shall revoke any current or active clearances held by all these people. James Clapper, Michael Hayden, Leon Panetta, John Brennan, Thomas Fingar, Richard Leggett, John McLaughlin, Michael Morrell, Michael Vickers, Douglas Wise, Nicholas Rasmussen, Russell Travers, and on and on and on. You notice there's about, it's probably going to be about 51 people here, 50. You know what those 50 people are? Those are the idiots that signed the letter that said that Hunter's laptop was Russian disinformation. First day out the box, Trump's like, that's it. You guys are done. You're absolutely done. We're not dealing with this crap anymore. And he's revoked all of their... that's why. There's two of them down here who are deceased. Two signatories, Patty and Brett Davis, are deceased. So, all those people who decided that they were going to go in and sign this letter, he has now said, nope, you're no longer going to have security clearances, which I don't understand why they've had security clearances all this time anyway. So, restoring accountability to influencing positions with the federal workforce, withdrawing the United States from the World Health Organization, which you just saw, application for protecting Americans from foreign adversary-controlled applications to TikTok, we talked about, granting pardons and commutations of sentences for certain offenses related to the events at or near the United States Capitol on January 6, 2021. That's a mouthful. But what it does is he granted pardons to all these people, and let me just bring this over. Commute sentences of the following individuals for convicted of offenses related to events that occurred during January 6th, and he lists them all right here. Those are the people, I guess, who guess were being held. And then I love this one here. Granting a full, complete, and unconditional pardon to all other individuals convicted of offenses related to January 6th. That includes Kim Wargo, who's Patriot Mom here in our chat, who I did an interview with, she finally is being pardoned. She's not in jail. She was supposed to serve, I believe, another 2 years of probation. But now they're done. It's over. This woman's a grandma. This woman is not a criminal. Now, if walking through the Capitol is you're a hardened criminal because you're walking through the Capitol, but you're telling me people who cross our border, oh no, they're fine, they're good. Oh, we can't go ahead and pardon these people. Yeah, that's what he was trying to say. Let's continue with the different orders that he has in place here. Let me look at a different screen. Okay. Putting America first, international environmental agreements, delivering emergency price relief for American families, and defeating the cost of living crisis. We can take a look at that. I didn't talk about that one. Let's look at that. All right. Over the past 4 years, the Biden administration's destructive policies inflicted a historic inflation crisis on the American people. So let me get down. In some unprecedented, okay, I hereby order, this is where it gets important. I hereby order the heads of all executive departments, hold on, I'm just looking at this so I can see if it comes on, to deliver emergency price relief consistent with applicable law to the American people and increase the prosperity of the American worker. This shall include pursuing appropriate actions to lower the cost of housing, expand housing supply, eliminate unnecessary administrative expenses and rent-seeking practices that increase healthcare costs, eliminate counterproductive requirements for American workers, including drawing discouraged workers into the labor force, and eliminate harmful coercive climate policies that increase the cost of food and fuel. So by releasing all of that, all those regulations, you should see a pretty quick price drop in the next 45 to 60 days, because now companies aren't going to have to go through all these different red tape regulations to bring you the food, the gas, and everything else that you want. All right, let's continue. I'm looking. He still hasn't come out. Hiring freeze. No more federal employees. Regulatory freeze. No more regulations. Return to in-person work. This is freaking the Democrats out. I mean, absolutely freaking. Supposedly, only 1% of the people in government actually go to the office. They all just do whatever they do from home, whatever they do, and they do it from home. He's like, everybody's going to come back to the office. Right away, you all got to come back to the office. That is freaking them out. Let me see if I can... This was a very short one you could take a look at. Very short. Heads of all departments and agencies in the executive branch of government shall, as soon as practicable, take all necessary steps to terminate remote work arrangements and require employees to return to work in person at their respective duty stations on a full-time basis, provided that the department and agency heads shall make exemptions they deem necessary. This memorandum shall be implemented consistent with applicable law. So in other words, get all your asses back to work. Get your ass to the office, just like most Americans do, and they have to go to work. It's over. Playtime is over. Daddy's home. He's tired of seeing you lounge around the house in big fluffy slippers. Go to work, or not. So undoubtedly, you're going to see lawsuits about this. People are going to hire the ACLU and everything else to try and make it seem as though people are being unnecessarily infringed because they have to go to work where they applied to work. Imagine that. You applied for this job, right? They told you this job was here. Yes. But you don't want to go to the job because during the jobademic, you didn't have to go, so now I've got used to being in my fluffy slippers and walking around in my pajamas and getting a six-figure salary every year without really proving that you were doing anything. That's what these people have been doing. Most of them. There are some people who've probably still been working. My favorite, one of my favorites, restoring freedom of speech and ending federal censorship. Now, obviously, what goes on at YouTube is not a federal censorship. It's fed into them. What went on at Facebook, what went on at Twitter, it wasn't federal, but they worked with these companies to censor people. And he is basically saying at this point, you cannot, if you're part of the government, you're a vendor, all these different things, you cannot any longer censor people on behalf of the federal government. So if you're not censoring on behalf of the federal government, who else out there is asking you to censor anything? Not these, fact-checking groups. Nope. Who is telling you to censor? One of the big ones here on YouTube is they say the advertisers, they don't want you talking about this stuff. And then you turn on TV and they're talking about people getting whacked in the street. So obviously it's not the advertisers. It's the actual platform. And it looks like he's finally getting ready to come out, so we'll jump to that as soon as he does. I've got 3 different things on here, and everybody's focusing on. So that usually means they've got what as they call the 2-minute warning, almost like in football. So we'll see what happens, and we'll go ahead and jump to it as soon as it happens. But at some point, and if you noticed during the inauguration yesterday, I pointed it out during the inauguration, we had the CEOs of Alphabet / Google / YouTube. We had Jeff Bezos. The CEO of Google is, I forget his first name, but his last name, I believe, is Pichai. All these people were there and, to kiss the ring. Obviously, Elon's there, but he's already been part of the team, so there's no big deal there. So you have to wonder, why would you continue with the censorship? I don't know. I'm going to start taking more liberties today. I'm going to take one of the videos that I posted on Rumble and post it on YouTube later on and see if, let's test the waters. Let's see if you guys are really all about making things back to normal, where we can talk about child trafficking, where we can talk about what some of the newcomers and how they've been raping kids. We couldn't even say those words. You say those words and the algorithm spider runs around and finds your video has spoken these words. No. But now Trump is like, done. Be done with this. We're not going to continue down this path anymore. Be fantastic. So I've talked for a while. Let me go ahead and take some comments. Some of the DC jails are being defiant. Yeah, that's at their own peril. That is going to be at their own peril. Watched you and ABC and CBS during the inauguration. ABC, where'd that go? I just clicked on it. Maybe it's not there anymore. But somebody says they watched ABC, didn't run any. Why are these not coming through right now? Trump is going to do everything he can. Okay, every day next 4 years, he has one shot at this and is going to go to crack on as best he can. I can't even imagine. Muriel Bowser is the mayor of Washington, so she is the one that you would think would go over and basically tell these people at the jail to let it go. They didn't censor any of the music. Nope, they didn't. I was very, very, very surprised that they didn't. Hold on, I want to make sure. I see the podium here. And again, if you guys want to look at that, all those orders yourself and go through them, all you have to do is go to whitehouse.gov, I believe. Hold on, let me just make sure. whitehouse.gov, and all the presidential actions are on there. All right, so I'm still looking to see. As you can see, I've got an RSBN feed. Everyone's been waiting. He's almost 50 minutes late. Like I said, you can have the best schedule possible, and it doesn't matter when it comes to Donald Trump. So that's we're seeing a perfect example of it right flipping now in regards to being able to wonder when he's going to be doing something. I mean, here's what I have. Let me turn it here. You can see there's nothing happening right now.
This initiative. As a candidate in 20...
All right, so we're going to see who he brings on, when he brings on, what they're going to be talking about. This new infrastructure, I can't tell you who it may be with, what states. I have an inkling. Let's all guess. You guys want to guess with me? I'm going to guess California. This may be because I know that they announced that he was flying to California on Friday, right? So if he's flying to California in a couple of days, maybe this is going to be the announcement as to what we're going to do to rebuild California and hopefully Maui and Western North Carolina. And he puts that all together in, like he said, a massive infrastructure bill. Here's what we're going to do with North Carolina, Maui, and San Francisco. And then appoint somebody to basically run the whole thing. Now, I wonder if I could sneak in this last piece I want to go with. Let me sneak in this last piece. I can monitor if I have to change real quick. All right. I think many people missed the most important message that was given during Trump's campaign and given during the inauguration yesterday. To me, it's the most important. Not the censorship, not the regulations, not the executive orders. This may be the most important thing for you guys to hone in on. You ready for this? Listen to this, because now it's been said more than one or two or three or four times.
At the start of the 20th century, America was the richest country on earth, and we defended our workers from unfair trade policies with tariffs. And we only made money. We had no income tax. All we did is charge other countries and foreign companies, if they wanted to sell to America, you had to pay for entry. Okay, so imagine this. The U.S. government had no income tax. Americans got to keep all their hard-earned money, and foreigners paid the price. So now, what's happened? We have the Internal Revenue Service. That means charge us internally. Now imagine politicians who can't even balance their own checkbook, taking our money, and what do they do every year? Let's just take more, let's just take more, let's just take more. So this is how Donald Trump is going to end it and fix it.
So do you guys remember, listen to Mr. Howard Lutnick talk? You remember him during the rallies, especially in New York? And then this was during the inauguration, and he was trying to explain to people what kind of concept. And remember, this guy is going to be the director or secretary of commerce, where you buy and sell stuff. And now, and you also have to know, he wouldn't have been on stage talking about anything that Trump didn't want him to talk about. So this had to have been approved. And he said, Howard, you go ahead and go with this. You go ahead and be the guy that's going to talk about this, and we'll see what happens. Listen to what he says here.
Last week, he announced that we're going to return America to greatness by creating, and today is its birthday, the External Revenue Service. So if you're always wondering, is some bureaucrat going to cut your benefits? Not under Donald Trump. Not under Donald Trump. It means foreign companies are going to pay if they want to come and sell products to the wealthiest country on earth. And if they want to compete with American workers, then let's just not tax our American workers.
Let's just not tax our American workers. He has said this a number of times. I personally have watched him say it a number of times. And yesterday at the inauguration party at the Capitol Arena, he got on stage and said it again. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling where these guys are going with the whole External Revenue Service and no tax on tips and no tax on overtime and no tax on Social Security. You're gonna see more and more things get whittled down. This is something that I think we should be talking about. When I say we, each one of you that's got a phone should be talking to people and saying, hey, what do you think about no income tax? What do you think about letting the world, who needs us as consumers, letting them pay for everything? And even if we went to a small sales tax or a consumption tax, then you're talking about fair share. Then you're talking, because at that point, it's not based upon what you make, it's based upon what you buy. And I know there's some people out there who say, if I have to pay a sales tax, it's going to raise my tax. And I'm like, have you done the math? Have you done the full math on it? Because I don't think it will. Or flat tax, 8% for everybody, or 9% for everybody. Then you don't even need basically the IRS. You just fill out one form and you send in your money. You don't have to even worry about taking out money from people's paychecks. Do away with the IRS. Do it with the External Revenue Service. I think people in America would absolutely love that. We can all talk about that, but I want you to remember, this is now the second, third, or fourth time you've been hearing it. Trump's put out their External Revenue Service. It's being discussed, and the reason it's being discussed is because they want you to talk about it. They want you to begin looking at this and going, yeah, I could actually imagine, us doing something like that. So before we get to this, let me go ahead and I've got to do a sponsor read right here, right quick. Let's see if it starts like it's supposed to. And yes. Okay, President Trump has said he wants to teach our kids to love our country, and now it's finally time for his inauguration. It's the perfect time to teach kids everything they need to know about their new president and his mission to make America great again. That's why Mike Huckabee's team put together the Kids Guide to President Trump, and to celebrate President Trump's return to the White House, they're giving away the book for free. This book is great because it features fun illustrations and content teaching kids all about President Trump's accomplishments and his goals for his second term. Mike Huckabee wants to send your family this free guide so you can teach your kids the truth about President Trump. And when you order, you'll receive a free commemorative President Trump pin. It's something new, but you must hurry because supplies are limited. Claim your free Kids Guide to President Trump free for your kids right now. See offer details and order your free guide at kidstrumpguide.com. That's kidstrumpguide.com. Or you can just click on the QR code that's on the screen right now. So we do need to teach kids what they're seeing isn't real. And part of that is what happened today and this morning. If you guys haven't watched this church thing, and I'm calling it a church thing because it wasn't a service and it wasn't a mass. It was horrible. It was an aberration. But did you know that the woman, I believe, who decided she was going to turn a church service into a political attempt to take on Trump was known to be a nut? You see, I'm pretty sure they didn't give Trump who the pastor or bishopess was going to be. They just had him show up and sit there and let this woman decide she was going to beg or plead or demand that he take it easy on the LGBTQ SSIPPI army. Let them go. Don't bother the newcomers. Let everything go. But did you know this about her?
Why did you want to come out here and send
their message? It is a message of a call for justice
for swift justice for George Floyd, for systemic justice for all brown and black people who have been under the knee of this country in ways that we have witnessed time and again. This is wrong. And this rising up, this spontaneous uprising of people, mostly half my age or younger, they're the ones we should be listening to.
And they're angry at the president.
They're so angry.
They're angry at the president. So what is your message to President Trump today?
Well, he should. I've given up speaking to President Trump. We need to replace President Trump. We need leadership that will lead us in the ways that this country deserves.
Thank you.
So that was the nut job. Way back in 2020, she was an activist to have Trump removed. And he walked into a church today, the National Cathedral in Washington. I'm sure he didn't expect to see her up on the dais, whatever you want to call it, pulpit. But nonetheless, there was that nut. That nut you saw right there was in the pulpit doing the same nuttery she was doing in 2020. So you're telling me these people didn't disclose to the president, oh, by the way, when you get there today, the person who's going to be doing like the main sermon isn't really going to do a sermon. She's going to do a plea for, the illegals, the transformers. She's gonna be asking you to understand now that you've won, you got to relax. Don't be this way. We need people to pick our cotton. Actually, she said fruit. Clean our toilets. That's all they think about with these people. So Trump was asked, what did you think?
Thank you.
Go.
Mr. President, what did you think of the sermon?
But you.
What did you think of the sermon?
What did you think of the sermon? What did you think? Did you like it? Find it exciting? Not too exciting, was it? I think it was a good start this time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
What'd you think? And he was nice. I didn't think it was that good. What'd you think? And I know what y'all thought, because I saw all the commentary. She was disgusting. She wasn't worthy of being in a pulpit. She wasn't worthy of talking about God. Shame on you, Washington National Cathedral. Shame on you. And I heard from somebody I had posted on Twitter, Franklin Graham had said that who was it? Somebody had done a podcast with him and said that church had been taken over by basically satanic nuts. And I'm like, well, why did you tell Trump? I understand it was tradition. It's been going on since 1933, and he didn't want to break the tradition. Okay, I'll go there. It's been almost 100 years. I'll go. And he sat there, and he took it. But understand, these nuts are everywhere. And as you just saw, they don't go away. The previous video was from 2020. And she has kept that same anger, the nastiness, everything you would think a bishop wouldn't be. And she has kept it in place. And she spewed her venom today. So as of right now, I can show you nothing has happened as of yet. So we're just waiting for Trump to show up. He is now the president, and just like with his campaign, he's an hour late. So let's go to the comments at this point so we can see what's going on here. Is he wearing a Temu AirPods? Who? I don't know who you're talking about. Libtards. Yeah, they are. They're like hemorrhoids. I went by so fast. Where was that? The lib nuts are like hemorrhoids. Yeah, they subside, but they never actually go away. Why was she wearing a duckbill on her face? Or was that old? Yes, that was from 2020, back when everybody in Washington had face diapers. She needs more than a red pill. There's no hope for her. She's done. She's absolutely done. There's no hope for her. Well, that bishop of what denomination? Good question. I can't tell you. So we're all looking. I'm looking at 3 different screens to see who post anything, and right now, nothing. They are refusing to release the J6 people. I was watching it on RSBN. They are getting out slowly and surely. I've seen 1 or 2 who've been released, but they are slow walking it. And I could see whatever time Trump did that pardon, depending on what time it was, it does take some time to go through all the paperwork and everything they have to do. They just can't walk down to the cell and say, hey, you're done, go ahead. They still have to do all the processing and probably let the person take a shower, probably let the person, all these different things. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, but we're approaching 24 hours, and that's absurd. I mean, if you had said, hey, it took us like 3 or 4 hours to process Joe, or we had too many deputies or whatever they are in Washington handling hard criminals, I'm going to give you the benefit of a doubt if it took 4 or 5 hours. I'm like, all right, it took 4 or 5 hours to get the paperwork processed, shift changes, all that kind of stuff. Going on 24 hours, I ain't got nothing for you. That's just wrong. I mean, Trump, that's wrong. Absolutely wrong. They're slow walking it. She is one of the nut jobs that Reagan released for the nut house when he shut down. Did Biden pardon himself? Nope, he did not. He did not pardon himself. I would take a shower at home. Yeah, exactly. I'm tired. I was just trying to give the benefit of a doubt. I'm like, well, maybe they wanted to give him a shower and hose him off or something, delouse them. I don't know. But yeah, 2 brothers got, I did see, this is what I saw. 2 brothers got out last night right before midnight. So they have been releasing them. I don't know why it's taken so long for all the other ones. But if Barry, they're refusing to release the January 6th this time. U.S. Marshals did get dispatched, but understand what you're saying is they're not refusing to release them, because I've seen some get released. I've seen the videos of 2 of the guys myself. They are releasing them. They are slow walking it. So they can't say they can't, but they're slow walking it just like they slow walk everything. Trump should order Biden's indictment. The problem right now is that he doesn't have he's got an acting Department of Justice, but he doesn't have the justice. I want to show you that just so you guys can see too. So where is it? All right, this was kind of important. I'll keep looking on the screens to make sure nothing starts while I'm talking about this. All right. President Trump announces acting cabinet level positions. So the reason why this is important is because obviously Marco Rubio just got confirmed yesterday. That's the only one who's been confirmed. But there still have to be people there running things. So this executive order, President Trump announces acting cabinet and cabinet level positions. And so all these people here, I hereby direct the following individuals to perform the functions and duties of the indicated positions in an acting capacity until the position is filled by appointment. So all of the different departments, right as of today, there is an acting person. You've got this guy who's Secretary of Agriculture, Secretary of Commerce, Secretary of Defense, Army. All the positions are now filled by executive order. So in every single one of these departments, as you can see on the screen, there is somebody who is, at this point, the titular head of everything. They are actually running the departments on behalf of the president. So it's not like there's nobody home. And I'm sure he handpicked these people, and he knows that they're good for what they're going to be doing. You had to have that in mind because you knew the process you were going to go through. So every single department that he currently has somebody who's being nominated and going through the confirmation hearings, there is a person that he has put in that are running the show as of right now. Where was the Department of Justice? Wait 1 second. Let me see this. There's any, all these departments: immigrations, NASA, Social Security, CIA, Trade, National Intelligence, Small Business, Secretary of State. Okay, turn. So right now, the current, I guess we can call them the interim, that would be the word. The interim, I don't know anything about this person, but the interim Attorney General is right here, James McHenry. So we do have an interim Attorney General, and then Lisa Kenna, who is the Secretary of State, she has now been relieved, and Marco Rubio is there, but there is currently a interim Attorney General. So we got people in place. We just have to make sure at this point that the other guys get in there that we need. All right, so everybody, just to update, Trump is now an hour and 11 minutes behind. Not really sure why. They don't give any updates. Just seeing an update with Eli Crane. Supposedly, they're waiting on the release packages that they have to fill out for the DC gulag. They're slow walking it. That's exactly what they're doing. Biden would evade justice because he'd be declared incompetent to stand trial. I bet you that's what he's looking to stand on. What's this one? No, guys, we've seen it. How long ago he said it, they are being released slowly. That's the problem right now. I've seen videos of the people being released, just that they haven't got to the people, all of them. It's not, they didn't just walk in and throw open the doors and say, "Oh, everybody go." They're not doing that. Let me see if I can end this conversation so I can show you guys. Go ahead. J6 release. Because they are indeed being released. There's a video. Yeah, okay. So let me show you this. Hold on, let me move that comment so you can see real quick. Where is it? All right, so take a look at this, and you guys can see for yourselves. You can see what's happening. Welcome home to my J6 brother, James McGrew, Marine vet that fought for his country, has been released and is coming on the show with me as soon as he's settled in. And there's the guy, he was released. So it is happening. It is happening. Don't let anybody tell you it's not happening. It's hard to talk to people when they're so tight on these things, but they are being released. It's just very, very slow. That's the problem. It's being very, very slow. Here's another one right here. Breaking first January 6 political prisoners to be released after Trump's pardon. Brothers Matthew and Andrew Valentin. They were released minutes ago from the D.C. jail. And there's two brothers right here. So, now you know. Now you know for sure. People are indeed being released. Slowly. They're slow walking it. But they are being released. And so now you can tell people, nope, they're actually being released. And for whatever reason, they're slow walking it. But as I'm scrolling through here, here's another guy that just got released. Let me go ahead and play this guy. So J6er is free from federal imprisonment and back with his family. And here's a guy walking, and he's back with his family. So now you know the truth. Or as Paul Harvey used to say, now you know the rest of the story. They are indeed being released. The Justice Department or whoever's in charge of it are just doing it very, very, very slowly. So that's the deal with that. All right, so let's take a few more comments while we're waiting for Trump to show up. People outside of the D.C. jail only saw two released today. I don't know why my dog's acting like that. Yeah, they may have only seen two, but they're coming out. It's possible the J6ers have to be debriefed on what they can say, maybe some kind of gag order. I don't know. Now, I'm sure we're going to see some people come out and give interviews so we can see what the heck's going on. Someone just told me, where'd that go? Someone just told me that the background of Swami stepped down. The background of Swami stepped down. Okay, so the background of Swami. So somebody's texted. That's pretty good. The background of Swami. Vivek Swami has indeed resigned or decided not to move forward with Doge. The story is that he's probably going to run for governor of Ohio. So that's where that is. Let's see. Let me look at. I'll just keep my mouth shut. It was there. The system doesn't work as fast as President Trump. That's a good thing. That's exactly. He moved so fast, and I don't know how they weren't prepared for it, but they weren't. I believe you'd be beautiful. They knew it was coming, and they should have been prepared. But they're just doing everything they can at this point to just walk it slow. Walk it slow. Barry, your dogs are pissed like we are. Actually, those of you who own Chihuahuas, he's not pissed. He's just cantankerous. He's like always, oh, get away from me. To the other little one. But then he plays with her as he's saying, get away from me. So that's just him. Right, Midas? Yeah, that's just him. Nothing yet. It's 5:17. I could have brought Tommy on a while ago. Let's see. How many imaginary jobs will they find sending money to Democrats? Yeah. I cannot wait for what a crime the Democrats have done by putting all these people in jail for a rally. So here's what's going to happen. These people are then going to sue. And they're going to sue the Department of Justice, and they're going to sue for a whole lot of money. And I would probably venture to say that Trump is going to settle all those lawsuits. Whereas Biden would have had Merrick Garland fighting them all. I bet Trump starts settling with these people. Get them recompensated for the time they've been stuck in a gulag. Absolutely. Midas just shows his teeth. Yeah, he just sits there and growls. He just growls. What do we got here? The J6 prisoners should be given restitution. Yeah. If you think the media was freaking out about the other stuff, wait till you see how they treat these people once they get restitution and money. There's no. I'm not going to say that because you're going to get me in trouble. Maybe the boss is having a Big Mac and a milkshake. I can't. They don't give any updates, so I don't know. And this is exactly what I was saying earlier about adjusting my schedule and everything else, because nobody is ever going to know. I mean, we're seeing the networks, Fox, everybody is just like, well, okay, we're trying to burn some time here. At least I have videos to go through and talk to you. All right, so here's a different subject we can talk about now while we're waiting. I wasn't going to bring it up today, but I might as well. Many times I've said to you that the Democrats are done. They don't have anything. They're still fighting battles from November 4th, as if the election didn't happen. You saw that firsthand yesterday. You saw them start to accuse Elon Musk of putting up a Nazi signal. These people are done. They're done. If that's the same play, they're not doing anything to advance their side. There is nobody on their side. Maybe John Fetterman. There's nobody talking about, all right, what are we going to do to move forward? The discussion isn't happening. Everything is still Trump this, Trump that, Trump. Man, if I were a Democrat politician, I would be pissed. I'd be like, can you start talking about me? Can you start talking about me? I want to run in 2020, whatever. Whether it's, for Senate, Congress. I've got some ideas. Can we talk about me? Are you telling me, we got some movement here, people. We have some movement. The boss is taking the stage.
Thank you. Nice to see you. Some very familiar faces. Well, thank you very much, and it's an honor to be here today. We have first full day as president. We're back, and we had a great first term, but we're going to have an even better second term, and I think we're going to do things that people will be shocked at. We're starting off with tremendous investment coming into our country at levels that nobody's really ever seen before, and they're very happy with the fact that I won the race and that they feel confident in their investments, and it's big money and high quality people. So my first day back from having a nice life, it's my honor to welcome three of the world's leading technology CEOs, and in the case of Larry Ellison, it's well beyond technology, sort of CEO of everything. Tremendous investment coming into our country at levels that nobody's really ever seen before, and they're very happy with the fact that I won the race and that they feel confident in their investments, and it's big money and high quality people. So my first day back from having a nice life, it's my honor to welcome three.
Let me know if the volume is okay, please. Let me know if your volume is okay.
Ellison, it's well beyond technology, he's sort of CEO of everything. He's an amazing man, an amazing business person. But to announce the largest AI infrastructure project by far in history, and it's all taking place right here in America. As you know, there's great competition for AI and other things, and they're coming in at the highest level. We're joined by Oracle Executive Chairman Larry Ellison, SoftBank CEO, my friend Masa Yoshi-san, and CEO of OpenAI, and I would say the by far the leading expert based on everything I read, Sam Altman. So that's great that you're coming in together. That's a massive group of talent and money. Together, these world-leading technology giants are announcing the formation of Stargate. So put that name down in your books, because I think you're going to hear a lot about it in the future. A new American company that will invest $500 billion at least in AI infrastructure in the United States, and very, very quickly, moving very rapidly, creating over 100,000 American jobs almost immediately. This monumental undertaking is a resounding declaration of confidence in America's potential under a new president. Let me be a new president. I didn't say it, they did. So I appreciate that, fellas. But it'll ensure the future of technology. What we want to do is we want to keep it in this country. China is a competitor and others are competitors. We want it to be in this country, and we're making it available. I'm going to help a lot through emergency declarations, because we have an emergency. We have to get this stuff built. So they have to produce a lot of electricity, and we'll make it possible for them to get that production done very easily at their own plants if they want, where they'll build at the plant, the AI plant, they'll build energy generation, and that will be incredible. But it's technology and artificial intelligence, all made in the USA. Beginning immediately, Stargate will be building the physical and virtual infrastructure to power the next generation of advancements in AI, and this will include the construction of colossal data centers, very, very massive structures. I was in the real estate business. These buildings, these are big, beautiful buildings. They're going to employ a lot of people. And physical campuses and locations currently being scouted nationwide. They're making their choices of locations. I think they have their choice. I'd like to ask Larry, Sam, and Masa to say a few words and just talk about a little bit about what they're doing. And if you have any questions, and then we'll go into a couple of other subjects also. But this is, to me, a very big thing. $500 billion Stargate project, I think, is going to be something that's very special. It'll lead to something that could be the biggest of all. So Larry, maybe we'll start with you and we'll go down the line. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. We certainly couldn't do this without you. It would simply be impossible. AI holds incredible promise for all of us, for every American. We've actually been working with OpenAI for a while and with Masa for a while. The data centers are actually under construction. The first of them are under construction in Texas. Each building's 500,000 square feet. There are 10 buildings currently being built, but that will expand to 20 and other locations beyond the Abilene location, which is our first location. The kind of applications that we're building, to give you an idea, maybe the most charismatic and the one that I think touches us all is electronic health records, not just maintaining electronic health records, but by looking at electronic health records, understanding the condition of doctors, better understanding the condition of their patients, and being able to provide healthcare plans that are much better than they otherwise would be. A doctor in Indian River Reservation would be able to see how a doctor at Memorial Sloan Kettering would treat the patient, or a doctor at Stanford would treat the patient. We actually provide all of that information, all of that guidance to the doctors who are treating cancer patients or patients with any other kind of disease, made possible by AI. I'm not going to take a lot of time. I'm going to pass it to Masa, but this is a very exciting program for Oracle to be a part of. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. That's good. That's great. I feel tall now. Thank you. Well, Mr. President, last month I came to celebrate your winning and promised that we will invest $100 billion. And you told me, oh, Masa, go for 200. Yeah. Now I came back with 500. Because this is as you said yesterday, this is the beginning of golden age of America. This is one great example, I think, right? We wouldn't have decided to do this. I think so. This is the beginning of golden age. We wouldn't have decided unless you won. And yesterday we agreed, we signed to make this happen because of this day. So we would make this happen. We would immediately start deploying $100 billion with a goal of making $500 billion within next 4 years, within your term, right? Because of your success. So we are very, very excited to do this. And our partner is, of course, SoftBank, OpenAI, Oracle, and additionally investing partner with MGX. On top of that, we have the technology partner, NVIDIA. And of course, Microsoft has been very, very supportive to Sam and continue to support all our success. This is not just for business. As Larry said, this will help people's life. This will help solving many, many issues, difficult things that otherwise we could not have solved with the power of AI. I think AGI is coming very, very soon. And then after that, that's not the goal. After that, artificial super intelligence will come to solve the issues that mankind would never ever have thought that we could solve. Well, this is the beginning of our golden age. Thank you very much.
I don't have too much to add, but I did want to say I'm thrilled we get to do this in the United States of America. I think this will be the most important project of this era. And as Masa said, for AGI to get built here, to create hundreds of thousands of jobs, to create a new industry centered here. We wouldn't be able to do this without you, Mr. President, and I'm thrilled that we get to. I think it'll be an exciting project. I think we'll be able to do all of the wonderful things that these guys talked about. But the fact that we get to do this in the United States is I think, wonderful. So Thank you very much.
Could you just say one word? I hear so many positive things about what it's going to do for medical research and for solving things, cancer and all the different problems. How will AI help us with the fight against the various problems, diseases, etc.?
These guys can maybe share more about some of the work they're doing there. I think they'll jointly be some of the leaders about driving progress here. But I believe that as this technology progresses, we will see diseases get cured at an unprecedented rate. We will be amazed at how quickly we're curing this cancer and that one and heart disease, and what this will do for the ability to deliver very high quality healthcare, the costs, but really to cure the diseases at a rapid rate, I think will be among the most important things this technology does.
Great. Very good. Thank you.
So we're currently working on. Can I step on this? Okay. All right. No. I'm not that tall. I'm not that tall.
You look even better.
Thank you, Mr. President. One of the most exciting things we're working on, using the tools that Sam and Masa are providing, is a cancer vaccine. It's very interesting. It turns out, I'll be quick, all of our cancers, cancer tumors, little fragments of those tumors float around in your blood. So you can do early cancer detection. If you can do using AI, you can do early cancer detection with a blood test. And using AI to look at the blood test, you can find the cancers that are actually seriously threatening the person. So we can, again, cancer diagnosis using AI has the promise of just being a simple blood test. Then beyond that, once we gene sequence that cancer tumor, you can then vaccinate the person, design a vaccine for every individual person to vaccinate them against that cancer. And you can make that vaccine, that mRNA vaccine, you can make that robotically, again, using AI in about 48 hours. So imagine early cancer detection, the development of a cancer vaccine for your particular cancer aimed at you, and have that vaccine available in 48 hours. This is the promise of AI and the promise of the future.
Great. Thanks.
Yeah, just 1 second. We'll finish up. But these are highly respected guys. I was shocked with Larry because I don't even think Larry does this stuff. You did a very good job for a guy that doesn't do it much, right? But he's so respected, and the group, and it's really an honor. But for Larry to be here and do this is very unusual because he doesn't do this stuff. He doesn't need it. He does, and you don't need it, do you? Huh? You don't need it. But I think it's an honor to the country. It's a great honor that this group, these are the top people, that they're going to do it, and they're going to do it here, and we're going to make it as easy as it can be. A $500 million Stargate project comes in addition to a separate pledge between $100 and $200 billion from, as we know, from Masa that we talked about before. Also, $20 billion from DMAC, which was great, and we have many others that are coming. Some I just announce it. It's easier, but with some, I know them, and they're so highly respected. I'd rather do it this way. Many would like to do it this way, but we're letting the world know what's happening. This is money that normally would have gone to China or other countries, but in particular China. In total, before the end of my first full business day in Washington in the White House, we've already secured nearly $3 trillion of new investments in the United States, and probably that's going to be 6 or 7 by the end of the week. Tremendous amounts of money are coming in for many things other than even AI. AI seems to be very hot. It seems to be the thing that a lot of smart people are looking at very strongly. And our country will be prospering like never before. I think that's true. And it's going to be the golden age of America. As I say, yesterday we had the most ambitious, action-oriented day of any administration in history. No, there's never been a first day like yesterday, as you know.
I signed a sweeping slate of executive orders to stop the invasion of our borders. I launched a government-wide effort to defeat inflation and bring down the cost of daily life and bring down the cost of energy, magnificently bring it down. And when energy comes down, Larry, I'd say generally speaking, when energy comes down, everything else comes down. The prices of food and the prices of everything else come down. Energy is that's the big baby. And we declared a national energy emergency to drill, baby, drill, our term that we use. We're going to drill, baby, drill like never before. We ended destructive DEI mandates across the federal government and returned our country to a merit-based system and a common sense system. As you know, the Supreme Court gave us a decision on merit, where things in this country can be based on merit now instead of a lot of different rules, regulations, and things that really put our country at a big disadvantage. We permanently stopped government censorship and restored free speech. That was signed yesterday. We renamed the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. Sounds so beautiful, the Gulf of America, and returned the name of a great president, William McKinley, to Mount McKinley. They took off the name. And he was actually a great president. He was a very, very successful businessman. He ran for governor of Ohio. He won and did a great job as governor, ran for president, and he won. He was assassinated, ultimately, in his second term, unfortunately. But he was the tariff king, and I don't think he was as bad as I am. I think I believe in him even more than him, but he believed in him very strongly. And he raised massive amounts of money. Our country was at its richest from 1870 to 1913. We had the most, that was when we were the richest, relatively speaking. We were the richest during that period of time. That was tariffs from other countries. And our administration's moving with unprecedented urgency and speed to confront every single crisis facing us, and we'll get the job done. And again, I want to thank Sam and Masa and Larry for being here. It's an honor to have them. And we'll take a few questions if you want.
Some of the executive orders, you would agree that it's never acceptable to assault a police officer.
Sure.
Right? So then if I can, among those you pardoned DJ Rodriguez, he drove a stun gun into the neck of a DC police officer who was abducted by the mob that day. He later confessed on video to the FBI and pleaded guilty for his crimes. Why does he deserve a pardon?
Well, I don't know. Was it a pardon? Because we're looking at commutes and we're looking at pardons. Okay, well, we'll take a look at everything. But I can say this. Murderers today are not even charged. You have murderers that aren't charged all over. You take a look at what's gone on in Philadelphia, take a look at what's gone off in LA, where people murder people and they don't get charged. These people have already served years in prison, and they've served them viciously. It's a disgusting prison. It's been horrible. It's inhumane. It's been a terrible, terrible thing. I also say this, you go to Portland, where they wrapped police officers, shot police officers, nothing happened to anybody. You go to Seattle, where they took over a big chunk of the city and people died. Portland, a lot of people died. Wait a minute. And you go also, take a look at Minneapolis, because I was there and I watched it. And if I didn't bring in the National Guard, that city wouldn't even exist today. People were killed and nobody went to jail. So these people have already served a long period of time, and I made a decision to give a pardon. Joe Biden gave a pardon yesterday to a lot of criminals. These are criminals that he gave a pardon to. And you should be asking that question. Why did he give a pardon to all of these people that committed crimes? Why did he give a pardon to the J6 Unselect Committee when they burned and destroyed all documents which showed that they did what was wrong, not me? Wait a minute. Why did they give a pardon to all of his relatives, his brother who made millions of dollars, to all these different people? He gave pardons. That's the question you should be answering. All right, go ahead. Yeah, please.
If I can just follow up about your meeting. Can I just follow up with that really fast?
No.
I just want to ask. Go ahead. You said
Tell us about your meeting with Speaker Johnson, Senator Thune. Did you reach any conclusion on this one big?
Pretty much. I think we have a good situation now. It's been in some ways made simpler by Los Angeles because they're going to need a lot of money. And generally speaking, I think you'll find that a lot of Democrats are going to be asking for help So I think maybe that makes it more one-sided. I think we're going to do very well. Look, we're going to take care of Los Angeles. I'm going there. I'm going to North Carolina, which has been abandoned by the Democrats. And I'm going to North Carolina, very importantly, first. I'll be there on Friday. And then I'm going from there to Los Angeles. And then I'm going to Nevada. And I'm really going to Nevada to thank them for the vote, because we won Nevada overwhelmingly, and that's usually a Democrat vote. And I just want to go there to thank the people of Nevada for the big vote. So we'll be making that. Yeah, please.
The leaders of the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers were freed following their pardons yesterday. At the time, back in 2021, you urged them to stand back and stand by. Is there now a place for them in the political conversation?
Well, we have to see. They've been given a pardon. I thought their sentences were ridiculous and excessive. One of the guys took down a flag that was an anti-American flag, and he was given years in jail. I don't know the exact number, but he was given many years in jail. I thought it was very excessive. And at least the cases that we looked at, these were people that actually love our country, so we thought a pardon would be appropriate, yeah.
Mr. President, is it also true in your conversations with Republicans today that you asked them to consider recess appointments for cabinet officials?
I think, yeah, if it's needed. I don't think it's going to be needed. Marco, as you know, got passed overwhelmingly with 99-0, which is pretty amazing. Marco's going to do a great job, Secretary of State, but he just got, I guess he was the first one and just got approved. That's some vote, 99-0, and the nothing was a vote that he would have gotten if we wanted to do it. But you know whose vote that was? Who's doing a great job right now as vice president.
Did you also talk about some sort of a trade or a deal involving wildfire relief in extension for a debt?
Well, what I really want to have done, I was talking about this with the guys back in the Oval Office. Los Angeles has massive amounts of water available to it. All they have to do is turn the valve, and that's the valve coming back from and down from the Pacific Northwest, where millions of gallons of water a week and a day, even in many cases, pours into California, goes all through California down to Los Angeles, and they turned it off. It's off now. The valve goes, it turns toward the Pacific Ocean, and all that water goes pouring into the Pacific Ocean. If they did what I told them to do, they wouldn't do it because politically they didn't think it was good. I think it's great politically. I think they're dead politically. What they've done, they've destroyed the city. What they've done to that city is unbelievable. The sprinklers, there's sprinklers in there like these right here that you see. None of them had any water in them. They didn't have any water. The fire hydrants, 40% of them had no water. The brush was just dry. Everything was dry. The sprinklers on the lawn weren't allowed to even be used. So, you know, everything was dry, and it was an inferno. They created an inferno. So we're demanding that they turn the valve back toward Los Angeles right now. It's not even believable that they haven't done it. Just so you know, they have a valve, and it turns like, think of a sink, but multiply it times many thousands of times the size of it. It's massive. And you turn it back toward Los Angeles. Why aren't they doing it? They either have a death wish, they're stupid, or there's something else going on that we don't understand. But we want the water that they're throwing away to be used for California. And that includes the farmers of California. You know, when you drive up north, you see all of the land. I couldn't believe it. I was with Devin Nunes when he was a congressman and some other congressmen from the area, and we're driving up and we're on the highway, and I keep looking at these farms, and the land is bone dry, and then you'd see an acre, about an acre or 2 acres, with the most beautiful green plants growing in it, the most beautiful you've ever. It's rich stuff, and you look at the soil, and it's so rich. That soil is almost the equivalent to like Iowa soil. It's phenomenal. It's got no water. But the reason it has no water, I said, do you have a drought? No. I said, what do you mean you don't have a drought? Look at the thing. It's dry as a bone. The reason you have like an acre is because they say you can farm 1 acre, but no more, because they didn't want to waste water. But they throw the water into the Pacific Ocean. These people are crazy. So we're going to be issuing an executive order demanding that they immediately let that water come down through California. Farmers, even people living in Beverly Hills. Now, those people have been a lot of them are wiped out. Believe it or not, they were having restrictions, Larry, you know about this. They wanted to restrict you to 38 gallons of water a day. That sounds like a lot, but it's not. When you're a rich person and you like to take a shower, 38 gallons doesn't last very long. And they have all this water, and it's really good water. Up high, Pacific Northwest, some comes in from Canada, a nice country, by the way, comes in from Canada, and it comes all the way through California, and they're restricting it. You even have the half pipes, the half pipes, the cut pipes, big ones, bigger than this room, and they're going all the way down, and they're bone dry, and they could be loaded up with water. No, but isn't it incredible that they don't do it? And it's to protect the Delta smelt. It's a fish that's doing poorly anyway. But I said, how are you protecting the Delta smelt by not giving it water? It's a fish. It needs water. Nobody can answer that question.
President Trump, TikTok, Mr. President.
Well, let me do this first.
Are you open to Elon buying TikTok?
Say it?
Are you open to Elon buying TikTok?
I would be if he wanted to buy it, yeah.
And on your inauguration,
I'd like Larry to buy it too. I have the right to make a deal. So the deal I'm thinking about, Larry, let's negotiate in front of the media. The deal, I think, is this, and I've met with owners of TikTok, the big owners. It's worthless if it doesn't get a permit. It's not like, oh, you can take the U.S. The whole thing is worthless. With a permit, it's worth like $1 trillion. So what I'm thinking about saying to somebody is buy it and give half to the United States of America, half, and we'll give you the permit. And they'll have a great partner, the United States. And they'll have something that's actually more valuable because they have the ultimate partner, and the United States will make it very worthwhile for them in terms of the permits and everything else. But so think of it, you have an asset that has no value or has $1 trillion value. It all depends on whether or not the United States gives the permit. So what I'm saying is let the United States give the permit, and the United States should get half. Sounds reasonable. What do you think?
Sounds like a good deal to me, Mr. President.
Yeah, he can afford it too.
Mr. President, you're a president who has long said that you back the blue, but aren't you sending the message that assaulting officers is okay with these parties?
No, the opposite. In fact, I'm going to be letting 2 officers from Washington Police, D.C. I believe they're from D.C., but I just approved it. They were arrested, put in jail for 5 years because they went after an illegal, and I guess something happened where something went wrong. And they arrested the 2 officers and put them in jail for going after a criminal, a rough criminal, by the way. And I'm actually releasing. No, I am the friend of police, more than any president that's ever been in this office.
More than 400 of the people that you pardoned, though, assaulted officers. So I want to ask you about the Vice President, J.D. Vance. He said, this is a week ago, he said, if you committed violence on January 6th, obviously you should not be pardoned. Why is your Vice President wrong?
Well, only for one reason. They've served years in jail. They should not have served, excuse me, and they've served years in jail, and murderers don't even go to jail in this country. And we had 1,500. We have 16 under review. As you know, we commuted about 16 of them because it looks like they could have done things that were not acceptable for a full pardon. But these people have served years of jail. Their lives have been ruined. And in many cases, listen to me for a second. Stop interrupting. They've served years in jail. And if you look at the American public is tired of it. Take a look at the election. Just look at the numbers on the election. We won this election in a landslide because the American public is tired of people like you that are just one-sided, horrible people in terms of crime. You don't talk about all the people that have been killed and what happens to those murderers. Murderers get no time. You take a look at some of these DAs. They go after political opponents, but they don't go after people that shoot people in the street. They're caught. They know where they're living. They know everything. They don't even go up to pick them up anymore. They just let them live there. They know all about it. They have their pictures. They have the tape of the shooting, and they don't even go up and you're talking about this. No, we pardoned people that were treated unbelievably poorly. In the history of our country, there's never been anything take place like this. They're still looking for them, but they're not looking for the murderers, the people that are killing everybody. We are, though, and we're getting them out of the country. We just started that. We're getting them out of the country, and they're going to be gotten out of the country fast. They came in illegally from jails and from prisons. They killed many people. Some of them killed many people. About 50% of them killed more than one person. They were released into our country. That's what we're focused on, not the kind of nonsense you're talking about.
You've called for a ceasefire in Ukraine. If Vladimir Putin doesn't come to the table to negotiate with you, will you put additional sanctions on Russia?
Sounds likely.
And do you think that the war should be frozen currently along
the war should have never started. If you had a competent president, which you didn't, the war wouldn't have happened. The war in Ukraine would have never happened if I were president. But that couldn't happen because the election was rigged. Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. President, there's been some debate within your orbit over whether or not to keep or eliminate H-1B visas. What's your position on that? Do you want to keep H-1Bs or do you want to get rid of them?
I like both sides of the argument, but I also like very competent people coming into our country, even if that involves them training and helping other people that may not have the qualifications they do. But I don't want to stop. And I'm not just talking about engineers. I'm talking about people at all levels. We want competent people coming into our country. And HB1, I know the program very well. I use the program. Maitre d's, wine, experts, even waiters, high quality waiters. You got to get the best people. Now, then you go into people like Larry, and he needs engineers, and Massa needs, and this gentleman needs engineers like nobody's ever needed engineers, right? So we have to have the quality people coming in. Now, by doing that, we're expanding businesses, and that takes care of everybody. So I'm sort of on both sides of the argument, but what I really do feel is that we have to let really competent people, great people come into our country, and we do that through the H-1 program.
Mr. President, are you looking to impose tariffs on Canada and Mexico in an effort to force negotiations sooner on USMCA?
No, it's really not on USMCA. It has nothing to do with that. They've allowed, both of them, Canada very much so, they've allowed millions and millions of people to come into our country that shouldn't be here. They could have stopped them, and they didn't. And they've killed 300,000 people last year. My opinion, have been destroyed by drugs, by fentanyl. The fentanyl coming through Canada is massive. The fentanyl coming through Mexico is massive. And people are getting killed, and families are being destroyed. I mean, the son gets killed, and the family is a basket case for the rest of their lives. I mean, I've seen mothers that thought they'd heal. They never heal. They say it gets worse with time. It gets worse with time. They lose their boy. They lose their baby. They lose their young daughter to fentanyl poisoning. And I had that talk with President Xi the other day, too, of China. I said, we don't want that crap in our country. We got to stop it. I would have stopped it. I had a deal with him where he was going to give the maximum penalty, which in China is the death penalty for drug dealing. And he was all said he was going to give the maximum penalty to fentanyl dealers. If they send to the United States, they were going to get the death penalty. And of course, Biden didn't pick that up. I had that deal all done. It was all wrapped up. We were going to have it done. And then the election went, let's put it nicely, it didn't go the proper way. I'm trying to be nice about it. It was rigged. And we had an incompetent president elected, and he never followed up on that deal. But he should have followed up. Because if they got the death penalty, they wouldn't be sending fentanyl to Mexico, Canada, and other places.
How much will the tariffs on China be, Mr. President? How much will the tariffs?
We're thinking about that too. We're talking about a tariff of 10% on China based on the fact that they're sending fentanyl to Mexico and Canada.
How soon on those tariffs?
Probably February 1st is the date we're looking at. For Mexico and China, we're talking about approximately 25%.
Update on the Gaza ceasefire, and are you planning to travel to the Middle East soon?
We're thinking about going to the Middle East, not yet. we have a thing called the hostages are coming back going on right now, and they are coming back. Some of them have been very damaged. You look at the young lady with her hand practically blown off. You know how that happened, right? Did you know how that happened? When you find out, you're not going to be too happy because it was terrible. But the hostages are starting to come back. If I weren't here, they wouldn't be back ever. They would have never come back. They would have all died. If this were done a year earlier, if Biden would have done this deal a year and a half, 2 years ago, or frankly, it should have never happened. October 7th should have never happened. Nobody should be dead. But through weakness, they allowed it to happen, and then it was a disaster from them. But you go back just 6 months ago, many of these young people were living. Young people don't die like that. They're just dying. And young people aren't dying at 22 and 23 years old. They don't die. But now they're dying, and you wonder why they're dying. They're being killed, and they have been killed. But they say 6 months ago, you would have had 11 more living hostages. Think of that. 6 months ago, but Biden couldn't get it done, and it was only the imposition that I put on it as a deadline that got it done. But it's a very sad situation. It should have never happened. I'll tell you, 2 things should have never happened. 3 things. Inflation should have never happened. It would have never happened, except for what they did to energy and their crazy spending. And Ukraine would have never happened. Never. By the way, Russia never would have gone into Ukraine. I had a very strong understanding with Putin that it would have never, ever happened. He disrespected Biden. Very simple. He disrespects people. He's smart. He understands. He disrespected Biden. And also, the Middle East would have never happened because Iran was broke. They had no money. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for Hezbollah. It would have never happened. October 7th would have never happened, but it did happen. So this is the cards I've been given, and we're getting the hostages back. That would have never happened under Biden. They would have never come back. They were just dying not that slowly. They were dying or being killed, but that was what was happening.
So are you going to keep sending weapons to Ukraine, or are you going to turn off the tap soon?
Well, we're looking into that. We're talking to Zelensky. We're going to be talking with President Putin very soon, and we'll see how it all happens. We're going to look at it very soon. One thing I do feel, the European Union should be paying a lot more than they're paying, because under Biden, I mean, we're in there for $200 billion more. Now, it affects them more than it affects us. We have an ocean in between, right? Little thing called an ocean. The European Union should equalize. We're in there for $200 billion more than the European Union. I mean, what are we, stupid? I guess the answer is yes, because they must think so. But the European Union takes advantage of us tremendously on trade, and they now take advantage of, and always have. If I didn't get involved years ago, my first term, one of the first things I noticed was that they're not paying enough. They're not paying. And a lot of those countries weren't even paying. The NATO countries, they weren't paying. Only 7 out of 28 were paying. We were one of them. And Poland was one. And they had a few of them that were paying, and some were paying very proudly. Usually, the closer to the borderline of Russia they were, the faster they paid, okay? The ones that were further away tended not to pay so fast. And one thing on that, I think they should lift their number not to 2%, but to 5%. NATO should be at 5%, not at 2%. 2% is ridiculous, yeah.
The U.S. President Xi, in your conversation about Ukraine, you asked him to get involved in helping settle that. Can you tell us about that?
I did, yeah. I said, you ought to get it settled, because he's not done very much on that. He's got a lot of power, like we have a lot of power. I said, you ought to get it settled. We did discuss it, yeah.
Do you intend to continue selling products that benefit yourself personally while you're president?
Well, I don't know if it benefited. I don't know where it is. I don't know much about it other than I launched it. I heard it was very successful. I haven't checked it. Where is it today?
You made a lot of money, sir.
How much?
Several $1 billion, it seems like, in the last several days.
Several billion? That's peanuts for these guys.
So you talked about the letter from President Biden. Can you give us some sense, broadly speaking?
Yeah, he wrote me a nice letter. I mean, I did open it last night. And I didn't know. Peter said, did you get the letter? I said, wait a minute, let's see the letter. It's sort of a tradition. You put it in the drawer. especially of the beautiful Resolute desk, right? And I opened the door, and there it was. It said to number 47. And it was a very nice letter. I mean, I could show it because I think it was a nice letter. Maybe I will. I think.
What did you say in terms of
Just basically, it was a little bit of an inspirational type letter, you know. Enjoy it, do a good job. Important, very important, how important the job is. But I think it was a nice letter. I think I should let people see it because it was a positive for him in writing it. I appreciated the letter.
Mr. President, were security concerns at all a factor when deciding to move your inauguration indoors?
No, not at all. No, not at all. It was just cold. If we would have, you know, I just went out to the helicopter, right, we said goodbye. That's a tradition. As long as before it used to be a stagecoach, and then helicopters came along. But that's been a tradition. You go out and you do that. And we stood there for 10 minutes, and I'll tell you what, people would not have been able to get through that day. That was cold. It was sort of interesting. Don't let the sun fool you. Tell me something. Sunny days can get very cold, can't they? Because that was so freezing yesterday. You couldn't have gotten through it. It would have been. And the answer is no, it wasn't security. With that being said, I thought the Capitol, the Rotunda, was beautiful. 72 degrees, unbelievable sound. You know, it's like being in an opera house. I could see people wanting to do it there rather than outside.
Why did you remove John Bolton's security clearance, sir?
Because I think that was enough time. It's we take a job. You take a job. You want to do a job. We're not going to have security on people for the rest of their lives. Why should we? I thought he was a very dumb person, but I used him well because every time people saw me come into a meeting with John Bolton standing behind me, they thought that he'd attack them because he was a warmonger. He's the one that got us involved, along with Cheney and a couple of others, convinced Bush, which was a terrible decision, to blow up the Middle East. You know, we blew up the Middle East and we left. We got nothing out of it except a lot of death. We killed a lot of people. And John Bolton was, one of those guys, a stupid guy. But no, you can't have that for life. You shouldn't expect it for life.
You mentioned with President Zelensky, will that take place here? And when and where will you meet with him?
I don't know. I mean, look, President Zelensky would like to have peace. He's told me that very strongly. He'd like to have peace, but it takes two to tango. We'll see what happens.
When will you meet with President Putin?
Anytime they want, I'll meet. I'd like to see that end. Millions of people are being killed, and they're being killed. It's a vicious situation, and they're now largely soldiers. A lot of people have been killed in the cities. They look like demolition sites. Buildings, massive buildings bombed and coming down. The thing with Ukraine is that many more people died than you're reporting. You're not reporting the real numbers, and I'm not blaming you for that. I'm blaming maybe our government for not wanting to release those numbers. Many more people died than what you know about. When those big buildings come down and they say 2 people were injured, no. Many people, thousands of people are being killed. But the real killing now is on the war front. It's a very flat land. And the only thing that stops a bullet is somebody's body. And you have young soldiers. So Russia's lost about 800,000 soldiers now. Ukraine's lost about 600 or 700,000. I think the numbers are low that they're giving out. But they've lost massive numbers of young soldiers. And that war should stop. It's very flat. You know, it's beautiful farmland, and it's flat and really beautiful in a different kind of a way, but they don't have any protection. The only thing that stops a bullet is a body. And those bodies are stopping a lot of bullets, and they're being decimated, both sides.
Your conversation with President Xi, what did you tell him in terms of when to expect tariffs? And what can he do to avoid them?
About which one? About tariffs? We didn't talk too much about tariffs, other than he knows where I stand. Look, I put large tariffs on China. I've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars. Until I was president, China never paid not 10 cents to the United States. With me, they paid $600 billion or so, or more than that even, of tariffs. And if I didn't do that, you wouldn't have a steel mill open in the United States right now. You wouldn't have one steel mill open in the United States. So what I did is I saved the steel industry. I saved other industries too with other tariffs. Other countries are big abusers also. You know, it's not just China. China's an abuser, but the European Union is very, very bad to us. They treat us very, very badly. They don't take our cars. They don't take our cars at all. They don't take our farm products, essentially. They don't take very much. We have a $350 billion deficit with the European Union. They treat us very, very badly. So they're going to be in for tariffs. It's the only way you're going to get back. It's the only way you're going to get fairness. You can't get fairness unless you do that. But the European Union's treated us very badly. But essentially, everybody treats us badly. You know, everybody treats us badly. Yes, go ahead. Because we allow them to. Because we've had stupid people doing this, and we can't have. I'd like to have these three people negotiate for us, just for 1 week, and we'd be a rich country again. But we'll be rich.
Mr. President, on AI data centers, will you rescind President Biden's executive order that opens up federal land?
On which centers?
On data centers. Will you rescind President Biden's executive order that opens up federal lands for data centers and energy production?
No, I wouldn't do that. That sounds to me like it's something that I would like. I'd like to see federal lands opened up for data centers. I think they're going to be very important. Again, we have a lot of competition for that. So it's an honor to have these three great people, great CEOs and great geniuses, all three. It's an honor that they want to come to our country, but we're going to make it as easy as we can for them because other countries want them to. I'm going to have to go now. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Do you have TikTok on your phone?
President Donald J.
Right,
Trump
so
talking for about 55 minutes.
Talked for nearly an hour. Wow. I don't even know why he needs a press secretary at this point. These press people, they're not cut out for this. They're just not ready for this. Remember, for 4 years, they had softball after softball given to them. Karine Jean-Pierre picking people who probably knew the answers, and they never talked to. I don't know how many times Biden even walked into the press conference room. Trump, it was funny because Karoline Leavitt said today, you're going to get to talk to him yourself. Straight up. You get to go talk to him. So, in any of it, they got something else on Pete Hegseth? What is this? Hold on.
His pick for Secretary of State receives unanimous Senate confirmation and gets ready for some big changes.
I don't know. I guess they were saying there's more dirt they dug up on Pete. Well, speaking of that, I got two different stories I want to show you that came on during the press conference. This one here. This just in. Democrats have put a hold on Pam Bondi's nomination. Don't know how they can do that. Delaying Bondi's confirmation as Attorney General for at least 7 days, per Senator Grassley. It must be because she absolutely humiliated Adam Schiff. Democrats are once again playing games to subvert the will of the people, which was to give Trump and his supporters and his appointees an overwhelming mandate. So they're doing it again. The only thing that they're going to end up doing, they're going to push Trump into doing these recess appointments. You know it's coming, right? I think we all know. This is BS. We all covered it. You were here when I covered the Pam Bondi hearing. She did fantastic, and now they're trying to, cover that up. What a pain. So, and this is probably why. Just in, President Trump's Department of Homeland Security just fired the entire advisory committee, citing misuse of resources. Biden's DHS funneled billions to facilitating illegal immigrants, so this move is much needed. DHS is finally getting an overhaul. So there's a letter signed by acting secretary. Remember I showed you how the acting secretaries are put in by the executive order. And so they went today and fired basically the entire advisory committee. Oh well. Bye. So before we go, I'm starting a new part of our show. And this new part of our show, as I mentioned to you last week, I wanted to start bringing people on from the fan base. You know, if you have a camera and some lights and a microphone, I'd like to talk to some of you and let you talk to somebody. So, without further ado, before we get off, let's talk to Tommy. Tommy. Can you hear me? Put your microphone on. Yeah, there you are. There's Tommy Radcliffe.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, brother. You are
Here,
live right now. Tommy, you hit the wrong button. You disappeared.
Somebody called me, and I'm sorry.
That's okay.
All right.
So many of you guys.
Oh, hey, what a great day! Couple days, huh?
Many of you may know Tommy. He's always in the chat. He's part of the fanfare family. And this is what I want to do. I just want to bring somebody on, let you guys see somebody you've been chatting with. And so Tommy said, "Yep, I'll do it." And Tommy plays guitar. Tommy, give me something.
Okay, I'm gonna do a little original. It's a pre-recorded, and I'll play along with it. Okay?
Yeah, sure.
Hope the volume's okay. Life ain't easy. Someone yes, I know that it's
Hey, your vocals aren't coming through.
Too loud?
No, your vocals aren't coming through.
Okay.
All we can hear is the recorded part.
Okay. How about this? Okay, there we go.
All right.
I got it. Give me 2 seconds.
This is live, so of course things aren't going to go right the first time.
Just a second. I got it. Hold on.
All right, brother. We're waiting for you.
Here we go. This should balance out better. Hold on.
All right. Do it.
Okay. I hope so. Yeah.
All right. Go for it.
Hear that?
No, you lost your volume, bro. So we'll try it again next time and see if we can't do the whole guitar thing.
Hell with it, I'll just play live. Can you hear my guitar?
Yeah, we can hear the guitar.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man. So Tommy, tell us about yourself.
Did you get that?
Yeah, tell us about yourself now. Who is Tommy Radcliffe?
I'm sorry, first time, and you got a lot going on. But I wrote that first song, if you could hear a little bit about Jesus, and I'm just a Christian because I've known Jesus for a long time, but never turned my life over to him. And in a nutshell, I was born fortunate with loving parents. My father was an airline captain, and I was a musician from 5 years old. I liked to fly, learned to fly, became a rock and roll musician. I played in Hollywood for 10 years, got signed, got scared away, basically by demons, became an airline captain, flew 22 years, fell off a building in 2004, and 53 feet in this helicopter, 3 months in the hospital, was the miracle patient X. And my faith turned to Christ, and everything changed. And all of this stuff that I have, I've collected my whole life, means absolutely nothing without him. And that came to me. He saved. I should have been dead, quadriplegic, and it changed everything. And when you become a creature of Christ, a new creature in Christ, you tend to not desire sin. Your libido goes down, and your desire to please God. And the whole point about him, and what people miss, is that we're here to be servants of Christ. And that's why there's explanations of the difference between slavery, servitude, and those kinds of things that God shows an example of, because I am a servant of Christ, and I would be happy to be a silkworm on the marble floor of the kingdom of God. And I'm here to please him. And when I fell and awoken and turned and saw him, not physically, but the shining example of all the knowledge I'd ever read in the gospel, which is right here every day, and I'd rather read it than play guitar. And I used to love the guitar more than Jesus.
Wow.
Now I love Jesus like I loved my mother and father when I was 5 years old. Remember that?
Yeah.
And I loved my father and mother when they died. And that love is the love I have for Jesus. I'm not embarrassed about it. I'm in love with him. And there's an armor around me. I could be shot in the head and I'm okay. And it's a wonderful feeling. And I urge everybody to read the gospel with a highlighter and a pencil and take notes and give it a chance, because there's a revival right now and Trump's allowing this. And it's a wonderful thing that's just happened. I've been with Trump since The Apprentice. And, you know, I've been with Barry now since about 6 months, I guess now. And, you know, here's a black ex-football player, content creator, and a white little guitar player from California. And I love the man, and he's allowing all of us to do this. So that's what I wanted to say.
All right, brother. What part of California are you from?
I was born in Manhattan Beach, that's burning, and Hollywood Hills. I lived when I was a rock star, married to an actress on the Guiding Light, and we were rolled out of bed right out of Laurel Canyon to the Mojo Cafe, and they scared me away.
Wow.
But I grew up in Lake Tahoe, North Tahoe, and learned to ski. I was trained for the Winter Olympics, so I was a fortunate person to be born into the ability to do that, but I took advantage of it. I had meritorial upbringing. My father was a Marine fighter pilot in the Korean War, 18 months, and he was a Pan Am captain for 44 years, my older brothers, and so it was in my blood, but I had the music in me from 5 years old.
Well, tell me, did you get a chance to watch that church service this morning, or that joke of a church service?
Yes, yeah, I did. One sec, I did. I have something. I'll close with something real nice here. Rather with something real mellow. Can you hear this?
Yeah.
Okay. And of course, I threw my pick somewhere. There it is. So, it's called Tilt into Christ. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Gonna feel alright. Tilt in Christ.
Well, Tommy, thank you very much. Like I said, this wasn't polished. This wasn't produced. No. This was just, one of you guys. And I just want to be able to talk to
My
the people.
first time doing this thing.
Yeah.
My first time doing this.
You guys are in the chat.
I hope you can hear a little bit. My voice is very hoarse and coarse. I'm not really a singer. I apologize. I'm a writer, guitarist. Other people usually sing my songs, but I sell them and they do take care of the rest.
All right, well, Tommy, get off of here and then get on your computer because a lot of people are talking to you, man. They feel like they know you now.
I hope it came through okay.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it, Barry, and I just love being a fanfare patriot. Thank you very much. We love you very much.
Thank you,
and
brother.
Ashley and Robin, right on.
We'll talk to you soon, brother.
Rocking out for Trump. See you later.
All right, everybody, that was Tommy Radcliffe. You see him in the chat all the time. You want to come on? Just tell Ashley you want to come on. You want to talk about something? I don't care what you want to talk about. If you just want to, some of you guys have been here for quite some time. And I figured, you know what, let's start putting faces behind the chat. So if you'd like to come on and you'd like to be a part of the show, and I'll close the show with you, and we can just talk, and people can get to know some of you. That's just something I want to do. Something quirky, something different. You don't have to play guitar. If you just want to come on and talk about something, let Ashley know, and we'll set it up. Well, that being said, let me go ahead and end up this show. If you'd like to join us, and it's probably not something you're hearing on any other show. Most of these guys are not going to just say, you know what, let me give you time to people who are in the chat. And this fanfare family that we built up, I know some of you talk to each other, and I just want to continue the growth of that interwebby relationship, if you want to call it. So anyway, if you'd like to join our private fanfareshop.org private X group, go to fanfareshop.org/group, and you'll join 13,000 plus fellow patriots, going on 14,000. If you'd like to enter to win a hoodie, go to fanfareshop.org and put your name in to win a hoodie. Ashley had asked me, which probably isn't of much interest right now, but she's like, do people want t-shirts instead of hoodies? I'm like, no, it's cold outside. They could probably definitely use the hoodies at this point. But as it gets warmer, we'll start looking at t-shirts as well. So let me go ahead and get ready. We're going to give away 3 because there won't be a second show tonight because Trump was so late. Let me get up here. Let me pull it up. Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead, and Tommy Lawrence was kind enough to put a drum roll together, which I have been using if I can find it. Here we go. Drum roll. Paul Stulig, you have won a free hoodie. Paul Stulig. Let's get ready to do it again. One more. Connie Capello, you have won a free hoodie. And let's do this one more time tonight. Drum roll, please. Edward Kurzak, you have won a free hoodie. All right, well, thank you guys all for entering. Don't forget to keep entering, so you just keep going and getting out. Ashley will contact you. She'll get your address and your size, and we'll get that out to you. Just for watching. Doesn't cost you anything. So I'm trying to do some different things. As you saw, I got Tommy on. We've been giving away hoodies. Somebody asked in the chat. We had talked for some time about doing some sort of meetup here in South Florida. Now that it's warmer down here and it's cold everywhere else, maybe it might be a good time. So we're gonna look at that again as well. Do a little happy hour type thing. Happy hour and hors d'oeuvres down here. So just in closing about this press conference, I know, and I'm not going to berate anybody, That was a press conference about constructing AI. In addition, he's been pushing crypto. These are two things that is going to allow America to basically keep up and to excel. So, if you don't like crypto and you don't like AI and you feel it's evil, as some people were saying, that's fine. Nobody here is going to twist your arm to use any of it. More than likely, you may not realize it, but you're already using AI. I could pretty much say you're already using AI. If you even use one of these, you are using AI. You just don't know it. In my marketing endeavors, I can tell you, have you ever searched for something on your phone or on your computer? And then, out of nowhere, you get, let's say you search for a sweater. And you search for a sweater, and then, you're looking at sports, or you're looking at pets, or you're looking at pictures of your kids, and all of a sudden you start seeing sweater ads, or videos about sweaters. Well, that's coming to you, served to you, by people like me, who says, hey, do me a favor, Facebook, X, whatever, YouTube, and show this ad to people who are interested, who have purchased before, have shown an intent to buy a sweater. You don't realize it, that everything you're doing in any way, shape, or fashion online is being tracked. Sometimes not nefariously done. Sometimes just simply for marketing. Because people like me, or my clients who want to sell you something, just happen to, pick that demographic. I could go in deep on it, but it'd probably scare you. I think I've told people before, I can run an ad that says I want to run an ad in this zip code to women who are married with kids over the age of 40 who have used a credit card more than 3 times in the last 7 days and are familiar with Macy's, Target, and, whatever other store, Abercrombie and Fitch. And it'll give me a list of people, however small that list is. And at that point, I can begin selling you my sweaters, shoes, restaurant. So, if you have one of these, you're already using AI. Just tell me. Just say it. Even just talk about it's kind of freaky. Some of it good, some of it bad. Yeah. I hate the stupid thing, Terminator. Guys, can you please ask for a prayer for my wife? I'm freaking out. What's wrong? What's wrong with your wife, bro? I don't know, and you don't have to tell us, but yeah, pray for your wife. Hope she gets better. And I hope also God calms you as well. I never owned a credit card in my life, and I'm 66 years old, but you're watching this video. So you can be sure how YouTube works is you log into your account, you watch a video, and then everywhere else you watch, they chart that. You may watch a video on how to make shrimp, and they know. And they use the AI and said, hey, this woman is, like you just said, she's 66 years old. Maybe you see an ad for shrimp. Just saying. Just saying. Do you realize that the ads that you see on this channel are tailored to you? And you and me and my wife would all see different ads? Just saying. You're using AI, you just don't know it. When you go to a restaurant, when you go to get your hair cut, I go get my hair cut, and if I haven't been back in 3 or 4 weeks, guess what? I get a text. Hey, Barry, where you been? You need a haircut and a shave. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Just saying. Just saying. And yeah, praying for your wife, Jesus knows, and will help. And praying for you as well. Barry, I don't watch your shoes. I don't sell these shoes. I'm talking about when I work for a client. That's funny. Trump is his own press secretary and doing a phenomenal job. Yeah, she's going to have to wrestle with him. She's going to have to wrestle with him and like, hey, man, hey, boss, let me handle these people today. I got it. You sure? Because I'll just go out there and smack them around for 45 minutes. They're going to get to a point where they don't want to come out there. I love you. That's stupid. You're stupid. You're ignorant. Ugh. This is the worst thing ever. Worst thing ever for them. All right, so let me get to Super Chats. From Jenny. Barry, could you please do us all a favor? Please talk to Mother Nature and set her straight. She took you literally when you said stay frosty. Well, she took me literally for you guys up there. It's 72 degrees at 6:30. So I mean, we're doing all right down here. But I feel for you. Sandra Smith. I have been looking forward to watching Tommy play his guitar. What a great story, Tommy. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. You guys see him in here all the time. He's always in here. Sandra JG. Everyone should watch J6 journalist Steve Baker reacts to being pardoned by Trump. It will make you weep. This must never happen again. These people must be punished so it never happens again. Mama Mima, everyone's using AI every day. You just don't know it. Exactly. Rob and I go out to dinner. And when she makes the reservation, we get seated at the same table all the same time. We don't even have to ask for it anymore. And then, of course, here comes our waiter. Oh, yeah, you guys are the ones who order this all the time. Would you like that again? Yeah. Been there one too many times. Raven Kirkendall, how do we invest in Stargate? I don't know. They haven't said anything about it yet, so not really sure. Not really sure how they're going to do it, if they're even looking for investors. I mean, they got big money behind them. Big, giant stacks of cash. Larry the Scrapper guy. Love that handle. I made it to the inauguration of Trump. Kidney failure needing transplant. Oh, pray for you, brother. Pray for you. Here comes Tommy. Tommy, Barry, I'm on standby. Have been for years as a pilot, as a studio cat. So, Tommy, thank God, Tommy was scheduled to come on yesterday, and then Trump bumped him. So we said, let's do it at 4 o'clock today. And then what happens? Like I told you, Trump decides, yeah, I'm going to have a press conference at 4 p.m. So, yeah, he was the living embodiment of getting bumped by the big guy. Jenny says, couldn't Trump appoint the actual nominees as interim appointments to the position they're going to be sworn into? That's a great question. Couldn't Pam Bondi well, I don't know how long you're allowed to serve. Maybe there's a time frame and it would be wasted. Beverly Litton, any day when Cash will be up for nomination for their cabinet position. All right, so I just showed you, and this may be from a while ago, but they're holding up Pam Bondi's nomination, and they haven't even announced when Kash Patel is even doing his hearing. Frenchie Lodge of Arizona. Eli Crane is there with the J6 families, and he had Charlie Kirk on the phone earlier. Elon posted on President Trump's full pardon. Keep praying. They're going to get out. They're just dragging their feet. Nicholas Lamonicus. Barry, she was disgusting, but it's D.C. What do you expect? D.C.'s mayor is a disgrace as well. Nicholas is referring to the bishopess. That was just horrible. But see, one thing you can come away from that with a bright light is that they're desperate. If you got to beg in church, you know you're done. You know you're absolutely done. One reason they don't want the employees to go back to work is because they will find out they're paying employees that don't exist. That's a good one. Wait till we find that out. Barry, do you think eliminating taxes lowers wages? Why? Why would it lower your wages? You think the company's going to say, hey, listen, since they're already getting paid this much and, we're not taking taxes out, so we should lower their paycheck? No, they'd get in big trouble for that. You're getting paid a certain salary. They'd probably be happy because they'd be, quote, unburdened from having to collect that. Let me continue here. I got to keep going. Let's see here. Okay. Party Dog To all government employees, off of your asses and onto your feet, out of the shade and into the heat. Get to work. Chop, chop. I agree. MAGA Mama says, please pray for my family. Grandson's grandpa passed away today from a heart attack. Oh, sorry to hear that. My biological dad also passed away. And my youngest son that lives across the street from me was in the hospital. Wow, MAGA Mama. God bless you. God bless you. Nicholas LaMonica's Barry Can't Trump removed D.C. prison officials for not complying with the pardon order. If they don't work for the federal government, not sure how he could do that, but even then he would need to have somebody from the DOJ to go in. So, because he can't do it. Joy Kirkland, I don't get why Mount McKinley couldn't be called both names, like Mount McKinney Denali or Mount Denali McKinley, because it's named after a president. It's an honored name. Pete Ulrich, too big to litigate the next frontier. American Patriot, I'm from Massachusetts, Taxachusetts. The Democrats in my state have their boots out throats because conservatives can't win here. The money she can't account for, $2.5 billion. Ugh, amazing. Myrna B, men can disciple men and women. Men can disciple men and women, but women can only disciple women. That was mistake number one. Always walk out of any church that has women clergy. How do you feel about that? How do you guys feel about that? Seriously. Should there only be men as in a pastoral role in a church? Depends on, I guess, the church and the denomination. Mark of reality, the libs need to be careful when it comes to suing people. There are things like counterclaims, and the right is getting better at funding lawsuits. I agree, 100%. David Cummings, the cartel is now a terrorist group. The order also says anyone supporting them are also included. Does this mean anyone taking hush money is a terrorist? Yes. If you're aiding and abetting a terrorist, you might as well be a terrorist yourself. So yes, which opens up the door for a lot more investigations too. Paddlefoot, Barry, any word on when vote in Senate on Hegseth? Yeah, just as we were getting off, they've got some more dirt on Pete Hegseth. Let me see if I can see what the dirt is that they've got on Pete. Did some other woman decide that she's going to come out and say, yeah, in 2002 he did this or he did that? Let's see. Let me see if I can find something. Okay, here's what happened. Okay, let's pull this up. So they got a hold of his ex-wife. And breaking, Democrat senators on the Armed Service Committee are reviewing an affidavit that alleges Secretary of Defense nominee Pete Hegseth made his second wife fear for her safety. Fox News has obtained an affidavit from Hegseth's former sister-in-law, which alleges he has an alcohol abuse problem and at times made his ex-wife Samantha fear for her safety. Danielle Hegseth was married to Pete's brother. She is now the sister of Samantha, Pete's. Can you get more convoluted here? So they found someone who's going to say that I heard that this and that she was afraid for her life. The Senate Arms Committee was provided the affidavit, and members are in the process of reviewing it. In a statement to Fox News, Pete Hegseth's lawyer, Tim Parlatore, said Sam has never alleged that there was any abuse. She signed court documents acknowledging there was no abuse and recently reaffirmed the same during her FBI interview. Sam is the actual wife. Danielle is the one who's filed the affidavit. Samantha, who is his wife, Sam says it never happened. Belated claims by Danielle Dietrich, an anti-Trump far-left Democrat who's divorced from Mr. Hegseth's brother and never got along with the Hegseth family, do nothing to change. These people are scum. They dug this woman out of the dirt who hates Trump, who's not even married to his ex. I mean, it's not even his ex-wife. She was never married to him. It was the sister of the ex-wife. After an acrimonious divorce, Mrs. Dietrich has had an axe to grind against the entire family. Miss Dietrich admits that she saw nothing, but is now falsely accusing Sam of, she's accusing her sister of lying to both the court and to the FBI because of private, undocumented statements that she allegedly made 10 years ago. Danielle provided an anecdote in the document recalling that Samantha once hid in a closet from her husband. In a statement to Fox News, Pete's lawyer said Sam has never alleged that there was any abuse, and she signed all this information. Okay, where am I? Senator Jackie Rosen, Democrat, told reporters this only confirms what we already knew about Pete's behavior and the way he has lived his life and the kinds of opinions that he had towards women. How does it confirm anything? So we'll let the Republicans make their own statement, but I think it just confirms we already know this is absolutely 100% unqualified for this job. His disposition, his demeanor, the issues we have with sexual abuse, with financial management. I am telling you there is a great deal in this affidavit, and any part of it would disqualify a candidate to lead our military, Elizabeth Warren says. However, Republicans on the committee aren't necessarily going to be swayed by the allegations. Tim Sheehy, who also sits on the committee, wrote on X, this is a desperate last-minute attempt by Dems and the media to smear Pete and tank his nomination. Pete's ex-wife is on record saying the claims are false. His ex-wife said the claims are false. But they're not listening to the actual ex-wife, they're listening to the sister. Nobody should fall for this. Good Lord. Our government's so broke, man. Our government is so broken. This is absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Terry Kane, I love Trump as anyone, but his birthright issue challenges our Constitution. This could open a can of worms for the left. Challenge it. Make them go to court. Make them spend money. Thanks, Barry, for covering all this and explaining it. God bless America. I can't believe what you're going to be. Even Fox is going to be talking crap about Pete again. Basically, the libs will keep Trump's executive orders sinking in legal quicksand until his time in office is snuffed out. We can't grow complacent. Need you to fight. Been telling you that. Demon of Cybertron, the cartel being labeled terrorists makes Mexico look bad to the rest of the world, especially with 2026 World Cup coming to Canada, USA, and Mexico. Agreed. Mama Mima again, what about the people that have been here for decades under the birthright citizenship? Good question. Very good question. Maybe he can grandfather somebody in. I don't know. Joy Kirkland again. It's pretty cut and dry to me. If you started the legal process of becoming a citizen, then birthright is okay. But if you're here illegally, then you got to go. Makes sense to me. Emma Jacobs. Barry, thank you for your time and service and helping keep us informed. Thank you very, very much. This thing with Pete Hegseth has got me pissed off. Let me just go through here. Where am I? How rude is that? I mean, a guy's ex-wife's sister? That's horrible. Fernando Cardenas. Much gratitude, much love, Barry. Also great interviews. Hugs. Thank you very much. And the Doggos. That's a pretty cool name. The Doggos. Barry, thank you for all you do, all the hard work, staying true to your convictions, and keeping us up to speed with your commentary. Thank you very much. Tell your friends. Nancy has looked into it. She was only married to Pete's brother. Now, okay, so she's not even the sister. This is crazy. This is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Man, the problem is there's no penalty. No penalty if you sign a false affidavit. And of course, that's all that they could think of is to just run to Elizabeth Warren and the other nuts and to just go to MSNBC and CNN. Oh my God, he's a rapist. He's this, he's that, and everything. David, I think you're right. Got to do it. At this point, screw it. Go nuclear, Trump. Go nuclear. You tried to do it the right way, but they're going to block you. Might as well just do it, not do it. All right, so we'll see you guys tomorrow at 3:30. with a big asterisk next to that, because I don't know if he's going to do something. We won't know till I see his schedule what he's going to do. Let's look at his schedule one more time before we leave. Maybe he's updated something. Hold on. Let's see if he's doing anything tonight. I can show this to you real quick before we get out of here. All right, so 4 o'clock is the last thing on his schedule, so we're free tonight. Doesn't look like anything is planned, so maybe he's just going to go home after a blazing 2 days and finally get some rest. That would be very smart. All right, everybody, see you guys tomorrow at 3:30. Unless something pops up in the morning, that'll be the time. And also, tonight I'm going to repost, I'm going to try it here on YouTube, the interview I did with Kim Wargo, who is one of the J6 prisoners. So maybe that'll work. Maybe they'll let it fly. We'll see. Thanks for watching tonight.